All right, everybody, welcome in, lovely people tonight. Welcome to a special, wonderful treat here I have for you. We are back together again, my friend and I, the wonderful 8-Bit Esquire.
Steve.
Here, how you been, buddy?
I've been good, man. I've been tired.
Middle-aged.
How have you been?
Middle-aged dad. I'm sure that like most of the dozen people so far that are in our chat room are probably middle-aged dads like us, struggling to stay awake at this point on Friday night.
Yeah, man. 8:30 is usually when I turn in. It's
yeah.
This is midnight. This is after hours for me for sure. For sure.
Well, yeah. So we're all gonna hang out. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna talk to Roger and see what's been going on with him. And so I see Vornak and Tony Escobar in the chat already. Guys, if you're here, Zefcore, welcome in. If you don't mind, do hit the like button for us, just so the algorithm will get some movement there. And I did drop a tweet, so share that if you can. And we're going to go ahead and start with a little toast. I'm glad to finally see you, man. I got some good things to toast here.
Oh, you got so much to toast. Salute. Yeah, what are you drinking over there, my friend?
Yeah,
what do
so
you got?
I'm gonna actually open up. Robert Dale Smith, controller expert.
What's going on,
welcome
buddy?
in.
What's going on?
Got a little fresh one here. One of my favorites, the Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel series. So is that
a 10-year? What is that? What do we got going on there?
This is not like, so this I don't think, basically this is just their normal off-the-shelf stuff that's 94 proof normally. I don't know what that normally is. It's not age stated. But what they do is...
It gets the job done.
Well, this one's actually harder to get. So they take that stuff, and then they take a new barrel, and they char and toast the barrel, and then they re-put it in the barrel for another, like, year. And so it's double toasted, so it comes out with these really sweet flavors when they do that. And
I'm sold.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Here in Virginia, these are a pain in the neck to get, but other places you can get them kind of easily. But
well, we were supposed to take that trip to go see Zach at some point. Then you decided to buy a house.
Yeah, we could talk about that a little bit today. I mean, that was, dude. This place, yeah, we could talk about that a little bit more, but it was literally a place that came available for sale. I drove by it, and I was like, that place is going to sell. And it was like pending being listed the next day.
Oh.
So it all happened real fast, but we'll get into that in a minute.
Can't wait.
So, yeah, let's get this. Here we go. Let me, first off. Cheers, everybody, if you're having a drink out there with us.
Yeah, cheers, everybody.
Cheers, everybody. We're going to get ready here. And, well, let me make sure I don't click the wrong button. I just wanted to kill the jazz there. Sometimes I'll let that go too high. Let's see. No, see, that's no cork pop there.
That wasn't good, man. That wasn't good at all.
Smells good.
No. Do it again. Come on. This is a big thing. This is your first big late night stream from the new place, right?
Here we go. Yeah, this is a weak cork. Like... Oh, there we go.
Oh,
there we
nice.
go. So, there we go. Finally got it. Got in my little man huggy here. You know.
Look at that.
So there you go.
Look at that.
Cheers,
Look at
Rogers.
That. Cheers.
Welcome.
Hey, salute, my friend. Congratulations on the new place. Home ownership, paying property taxes.
Back
Good
at
for
it.
you. Yeah,
back
that's right.
at it.
That's right.
Good evening, Chris. Yeah. So,
well, so can I ask a question? So,
absolutely.
Now the bunker. Now, of course, I grew fond of the bunker, as did many people that are in this chat right now. We're all big fans of yours. Tuning in during the week. Now, that house. How did you come by that house, the former abode that you lived in?
Okay, yeah, this is kind of like a journey, right? So the place I started. The place I started everything was a place I lived in Tennessee. And I mean, I bought that house back a long time ago when houses were affordable. Like
many years
not
ago.
long. I mean, it was 2000 and like, it was right before the last crisis, whatever.
Yeah.
2008. It was like right
Yeah.
before that. So anyway, I lived there for a while till I moved here. And the house I lived in that I was in the last couple of years is actually it was my grandfather's house. So my
That's right.
grandfather
Okay.
built it. Okay. And when he passed and my grandmother passed, which was like, they passed within a couple months of each other. My dad inherited all his property, and that was the house that he had. So I went there and rented it for a year, the whole time. And then I was never really planning on buying it. It wasn't exactly the right spot or the right fit, but it worked for that time period. And so that's what it was. It was a house that my granddad built. It's just it was really old, and it had never been like remodeled since he had lived there. So everything was 60s, everything. And it got to the point where after you start using stuff like I was laughing. I was leaving the house, and one of the doorknob was so old that I turned it and it literally just pulled out of the wall. So it's like, and I was telling my dad this stuff and he's laughing. He's like, yeah, this place was going to last forever. I mean, it's like 80 years old at this point, or not 80, but 60. Right. So, my wife and I have been looking for housing, but the area we wanted to go was like very limited because of the school where the kids have been going is over here where we're living now. So we had been looking over here, but it's been just like nothing very good. And anything that is on the market is like overpriced and terrible. Like there's always something, right? I like looked at homes, and this is the problem with shopping for a home. Like you feel like you're going and you're buying other problems. Right. Yeah. And it's like, there's always something with most of the homes I was looking at where I just hated like something so much about it. And it was like, you're just paying a bunch of money for some other thing you don't like, but you're like, I need a house. I needed to be in this area and I needed to be this size. So it was like, golly, nothing. And we've been looking at these places and,
well, on top of that, you got interest rates are through the roof right now, right?
Right.
So,
right.
And
I was fortunate to where I had all this stuff planned out and I knew it was going to be a pain in the neck, but I was actually able to get all that. And I actually thought about this, and it's probably would be something for a different channel, but actually just talking about things like actually buying a house right now. Like all I do is see shit on YouTube right now about it's the end of the world. No one can buy a house. You can't do it. And I'm like, well, you can do it. It's just really, really not easy anymore. And so I was like, I could talk about how it was easy and how it's not easy now and what happens. But this place, Roger, like it was a place we drive by often, and it's not like the house. I wasn't looking at this particular house, but I was actually looking at a house that's on this same street, but it's much worse, and it's like 10 houses up. And this one came available or was coming soon, and I was like, we need to go look at that house. And I looked it up, and it was like, I mean, nowadays it was like dream price. Okay. I mean, it was listed at $315, which for now is like, holy crap. Wait a second. $315.
Yeah, good luck. Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
And you're like, wait a second, what's wrong with it? What's the deal? Cause most houses are like 400 right now that that are like that. And I mean, like the one right next door to this one, funny enough, both these people right next door to each other moved out. That one's for sale for $399. So it's like, and that one's closing in like 2 weeks or something. I found out this week. This one came on the market, and it was my real estate agent that we'd been working with for 2.5 years was having surgery that day. And she's like, I can't do anything. I'm at the hospital or something, and she was having arm surgery, scheduled surgery. And so I was like, this is freaking great. I find this house I like want to go look at. So I literally got my wife to draw. She was riding around and she's like, I'll go past there. And she texted me the realtor's number on the sign. Because you can't that's funny. You can't Google a property and try to get the actual listing agent. Because it's going to send you to some other stupid thing that's going to be a marketing thing where it's giving you an agent that's like, oh, yeah.
Here's an agent that we have for you. Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So that's what it is. So I was like, no, we have to go by the house to get the actual number on the sign and the guy's name. I called him. I left him a voicemail, and the guy called me back. It was a Friday. All this was happening, right? Friday, he says, how you doing? I'm like, hey, I want to really look at this house. I'm very serious on buying this thing. I'm able to buy it, no problem. If this stuff I just wanted to know if it's still available. And he's like, yeah, it's still available. But I am going to meet with the owners at 6 p.m. I have one offer already here in writing, and I have another one scheduled to be here at this afternoon. And I was like, okay. And so I was like, but my real estate agent's not available so much.
She's in the fucking hospital
and
right
he's
now.
He's like, oh, are you working with this lady? And I said, yes. And because he knows her. It's not a very big area. So anyway, the guy's like, yeah, if you get the agent to go over there, I'll give her the info to get in the house. You can go as long as there's not somebody. There's supposed to be people looking at it today. So as long as there's not somebody already there and you're there, just go in. So I called the agent and she's like, yeah, I told him I'd be there, but obviously I won't. Here's the door code. So just go sneak in there and look around if you want. Hey, Belmont, Smasher Josh, Race Roni. What's up, guys?
Saw that guy.
Yeah, sorry, shout out there. But anyway, yeah, so they get me the keys, or I go get the key box, and I'm opening the door and I go in the house. And I mean, it's a really nice built house. It's not huge, obviously, if it's only that much money, but it was enough size, and the property was gorgeous. And it had the two buildings in the back, and they both have power to them. And I was looking, and I didn't even get to look inside either. I got to look inside the building next door, which is nothing but power and storage right now, and sticks, frame. And then I didn't even get to see inside this building because it was locked. I got to see inside all the house for about 15 minutes. And then my wife and I were standing on the back porch, and we were like, I don't know what's going on, but I feel like we should just get this one. I was like, we're going to be looking forever. We're not going to find anything that's not going to be over $350,000 that we're not going to really, probably. Yeah, and we really wanted to get out of that house because, again, running from family after a while, it gets really awkward. And there's all these tense moments at times that were just stupid. And I was just like, we need to get out of this really in any way. And so, yeah, I got to look at it for 15 minutes. I called the realtor and I was like, yeah, we're going to make an offer. And I said, but I don't have any open loan right now because I've been shopping for 3 years. I have one from a year ago.
Right.
And she's like, don't worry, I know you. You'll be fine. She's like, I'll vouch for you. It's already Friday, so we'll just put the contract in. And, I've been working with you for 3 years, or 2.5 years, so I'm not worried about that. You can just send that Monday, obviously, or whenever. So
but does she know about your habit about buying CRTs and PVMs?
Oh, they don't care. That was the funniest thing. Explaining to underwriting my business. I was being I was being so vague, bro. I mean, they did not even ask. I just told them I was a consultant. And they asked for my license, my business license. I I still have, it's probably like your attorney's license for Michigan. I have a state license for insurance for a bunch of lines of insurance in Tennessee, which is valid in any state.
You should have sent them.
So that's what I sent them, and they were like, "Okay, yeah, this works." And I didn't say anything else. I just sent them that license, and they said, "Yeah." I said, "Are you going to get one in Virginia?" I said, "No, I don't need one." And that they approved everything, but that was the only thing was they asked about that.
They didn't want to see your YouTube studio metrics.
No, they
or
didn't
anything.
care. No. They don't care about that. They only cared about like how much money I paid in taxes the last 2 years, right?
Right. Well,
So, yeah, I mean, but well, that day when I was walking through the house here, I was talking to the local bank, like saying, yeah, send me an application. I want to do an application with you guys. And they sent me the application form. And this was all so ridiculous because then I was like, yes, we want it. We want the house. And I was talking to my wife and I was like, this house is underpriced. It's $315. It's underpriced. I'm not losing this house.
No.
I was like, I
moved in.
I'm like, we're going to, and we could be, whatever. I was like, we're going to go up to, I think I told the realtor, I was like, I'm not losing this house. I want to get it. And she's like, well, what's the top number you're thinking? And I was like, well, how much are they going for like over when they're going over right now? And she's like, that really doesn't happen much anymore. But when it does, it's usually like $1,000 over. And I'm like, that just sounds too freaking good to be true. I was like, I want to go. I was like, I will go to 329. I told her or something like that. I think I said before I'm really worried. And
well, it doesn't matter. I mean, the bank's got to approve it.
Well,
I mean, whatever.
It doesn't. Yeah. So, well, it doesn't really. I mean, I had equity from my last house that I bought and lived in so long that I was able to put down. That's the difference. I was able to put down 30%.
Oh,
even
look at
at
you.
that.
Oh,
so,
thanks. Love that. Good for you.
So that's why they didn't. Right. So I was like, as long as it's not, it wasn't mattering at that point. I was like, the difference isn't very much. It would just be the loan difference. But since that was only because, again, that I had, like I got the equity from the sale and I'd saved a bunch of didn't. And I mean, I was like planning all the whatever, but I got in there and I was talking to the realtor and she's like, yeah, they go for like one. I'm like, well, and she's like, well, I'm not going to go in there and say 329. And then they'll come back and want 350 or something stupid. But she was pretty smart. She said, I got a feeling it's going to be like 318 or 319 is what the other offer is going to be. And so she said, let's go in for 318. And I'm going to put a thing in there that's a contingent that says if they get an offer that's better or matches that, we get an opportunity to send an immediate counter in.
Right of first refusal, my man.
And no shit, she did that. And then like the people came back and they said three, because it's on, you can look at, I mean, it will be on the records anyway.
Public record.
Right.
Yeah.
So it said, she said,
why don't you give everybody a social security number too?
They said 325 and they'll do it. And I said, well, do it then. And then that was it. And then I was like, yes. And then I was like, shit, I got to get the loan application in now. So, Of course, that weekend I was sweating, but because Roger, not only because of that, but this was again, middle of March. And I hadn't done my taxes yet for 2023. So I had to wake up that Saturday morning and do my 2023 taxes and paid. I mean, this was the first, year that I made a bunch of money that I had reported through Retrotech, and my wife got a new job, and we declared all the kids, so they withheld no income tax like on her checks, and I literally wrote a check for like $12,000.
Oh yeah, you had
to them,
dude. You're like, I could see you now. You're like on eBay pulling up all of your purchases. Like, oh yeah, I bought that and I bought that.
Oh no, well it didn't matter. Even that I was.
Yahoo auction.
Well, see, at the same time though. Well, this was always so I learned this a while back. When you run a business yourself, you can have all tax codes ridiculous. You can make it to where you can argue just about every dollar you spend and minute you spend as being a business expense, depending on your business.
Yes.
However, if you want to go and get a loan, you can't go and get a loan and say, I make no personal income.
No, you cannot.
You have to do the vice thing where you pay yourself out of your business for a couple of years. And then you pay all these taxes and to get the loan. Basically.
Or you do what I do. You have a regular job that makes you your living, and then you have your YouTube channel that you use for just business expenses.
Just to put
that was very lucrative this year.
That's exactly that's what this. Well, see, you're on the path to greatness. That's exactly how my thing started. It was all a side thing to the point. Yeah, exactly. What kind of they didn't ask what kind of consultation I did. That was the best part. Yes, have you heard of the 240p test suite? Exactly,
right.
Ash.
Yeah, exactly.
I had Smasher Josh was asking about CRT Rex. I actually have seen his streams. I saw somebody post a stream of his Carcy Carcinogen. Yeah, I have seen him. It's cool stuff. He does like CRT streams. But
that is really funny. What kind of consultant are you? 240p.
Right. So then I go and I'm like Andrea. I mean, it's like Saturday morning. I haven't slept a wink. I'm ready to smack myself in the face after paying this huge tax debt. And then you know what it says? It says, congratulations. Next year you have to pay quarterly tax payments. Your next payment is a quarter of that, and it's due by April 20th or something. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. Now I get to pay I get to pay a fourth of that again to Uncle Sam in another month. So
self-employment, man. Self-employment.
Exactly. So I dropped all that cash to the government, and then I mean, I went with the local bank, and they had me like the pre-approval thing by Monday, 11 a.m. So that was the cool thing. Like I uploaded all the documents to their thing over the weekend, and they immediately gave me the pre-approval. And everything went smoothly. Man. Everything went super smooth. Like I said, the only time they said was, the underwriters, the deep underwriters sent me a message, and I was like, oh, great. This is when they're going to start asking about my business. Because, yeah, it just says on my tax return.
Consultant.
It does. It says Stephen Nutter, consultant. And it might even say, it might say technical consultant.
Yeah. And that's
so,
you.
Right.
How else would I describe you? I mean, that's
well, in an accounting setting. So. Yeah. I was like, well, when are they going to ask about it? And then she just asked for a license. And then I was like, wow, good question. And I was like, I have like that freaking, because I just kept my insurance license going, because that's what the consultant firm did start as insurance 13 years ago. But now now in the last 5, we do just CRT consulting. It's just such a weird transition.
I mean, yeah, she's looking for like a special CRT consultant's license.
That would have been even. They would have probably thought I was like an author writing about.
Who's the regulatory body that issues those? Right? Is it Save on Pad? Is that who does it? Like who is the board?
I guess that's my next gig is issuing licenses.
You should. We should look into this. Like, how do you create a regulatory body in the state of Virginia where you are a CRT consultant? You're a regulatory agency of one. You are the president, the accountant, the secretary. You're all of them.
That's right, and it's very easy You just pay the whatever fee we're going to put there for your licensing fee.
You pay yourself the annual $300 fee, and you're a licensed CRT consultant.
Well, and then I've always been like this. I always wanted to meet somebody out somewhere randomly that was still in insurance, but with one of these other companies that's like Lloyd's of London that do these like ridiculous policies on people's legs and like the athletes' arms. And I need them to do like, I want them to be like, hey, let me help get you customers for their like ridiculous game collections, right? Like I know so many people who are YouTubers who have a legitimate six-figure legitimate valued collection.
Well,
right?
I did that with my homeowners.
Right, but at the end of the day, your homeowner's insurance might give you shit, whereas this is a specific policy.
No. So but you're an attorney.
What
I had to do with my agent was I took videos of like all my shit and I sent it all to her, and I'm like, yeah, that's a copy of Panzer Dragoon Saga right there. That's $1,200. Like $1,500, like depending on where you look. Like like this shit is expensive. Like I need, I need to have enough coverage for all this stuff. Which brings me to my next question. Do you have liability insurance for Retro Tech? Do you not? Like if you blow up somebody's monitor on accident or something?
Yeah, but what would that pay? It would just pay me if I hurt myself. There's nothing that would pay. So
no, it would just be general liability insurance. If you were to damage somebody else's thing in the course of, and you have now
I would replace it.
Now wait a minute. This is a consultation, right?
Right. Go for it.
So
bring up the
well, what I wanted to tell you, I wanted to introduce you to attorney-client privilege. So, anything that we say,
it's just between the three of us.
It's just between the two of us
and them.
But the problem is, you're live streaming this, everybody, which waives the privilege. But
yeah.
But no, you should have like general liability coverage, and you should have all your customers sign waivers that say, hey, by the way, I might blow your shit up, and if you do, you're gonna hold me harmless. You're going to assume any and all responsibility for any damage I may or may not cause. And if you happen to, and somebody wants to get, litigious, you have a general liability policy that may cover that. So just food for thought. I mean, your regular customer, let's say Try sends you his shitty Toshiba and you hang on to it for 6 years and and you're servicing it and it blows up, and you may think to yourself, well, Try, it's a shitty Toshiba, who cares? But that has a lot of sentimental value to him and he wants to sue. Just protect yourself. I'm just looking out for your best interests, man. That's all.
Yeah, that would be an interesting situation. That would be funny. That would be pretty awful.
Look,
I have been sued before.
Well, not in relation to your CRT consultant line.
No, it was an auto accident.
Uh-oh. What'd you do, man?
This is pretty funny. No, nobody died.
What'd you do? Oh, okay.
Okay. So this is extremely stupid. This is pre-retro. This is even pre-insurance. This is when I was still doing concrete consulting at this time, okay? And I remember I was driving my car. I had left work, and I found this dude on, I believe it was Craigslist at the time, and he was selling like $10 ping putters. $10 ping putters that were new. And I was like, this guy just stole a bunch of these putters, and I'm going to get me one, right?
Attaboy.
So there's a gas station out by
because you knew it was stolen and you buy it anyways.
It doesn't say stolen, but it's $10. Maybe it's not.
If it's too good to be true, but yeah. All right.
So that doesn't matter. It all got me in the end, okay? So I got this putter at the gas station, and I'm like, call my buddy, let's go play some golf. Back when I used to play golf, I was really bad at it, but I thought a $10 ping putter would help me. So I'm like, let's go play some golf. So I'm in the car, and I remember just being in the car driving, and I just like picked up this putter for 1 second. And I'm like, what a great deal on this putter. And I look back and there's a car just stopped, like right in front of me. I come over a hill, right, stopped. And I'm like, ah, slam on the brakes. I realize I'm going to hit the shit out of this guy. So instead of hitting him directly, he's driving a Jeep. Instead of hitting him directly, I veer off to the side of the road towards the woods. And so when I do that, I still scrape the back end of his bumper. Like, barely scrape it. Boom. And then I go into the woods and I go like flying in the woods. It's not huge trees, but they're like this big around. And I mean, it's like, and it's just like smashing the car to bits. And I'm like, oh, you dumb son of a bitch. So I get over there.
I was too busy staring at my counterfeit putter.
Yeah. I get over there. I'm like, dadgummit. I hit this idiot guy. I'm like, he's okay. You know, I'm looking at him. He's out there and he's all buddy with the cop. And I'm like, oh, great.
Oh, yeah.
So he's out there bullshitting. He's like, yeah, we're good. And then I'm like, okay, I'll be here. And he even like left the scene in his car. And I had to wait, of course, because I had to get a ride. I had to get the car towed out of the damn forest. And, of course, it was totaled. And so I didn't think much of it. Filed the insurance claim. Went about my life. And like 6-7 months later, I get a knock on the door from the local sheriff. And he goes, are you Steve Nutter? I said, yes, sir. My first mistake.
You've been served.
Congratulations, you've been served, right?
Bam.
So, bam, I got served with a lawsuit, and then I spent the next couple years going back and forth with an attorney. I went and I had to go through depositions. For like
you got
hours.
deposed? Oh,
yeah, I could tell you some crazy shit about the deposition.
Well, hold on. You've got a super chat, my friend.
Yeah,
$10
Jake.
super chat from Jake is way black. Hey, Steve, can I hit you up on Patreon sometime after the stream? I have been trying to RGB and S-Video mod a KV27S42 with the Sunthars guide, but it's not working. Would like to get pics of your AA2D mod. How about that?
Yes, yeah, that? Jake, you can. Absolutely, yeah. And that's the next video whenever I get time after the one that I did today is the video on that mod. But don't feel discouraged because I got thrown off by that mod a lot, and it was just very unclear on the guide for that specific chassis on how to quite finish it up. So yes, you can. And I do have those pictures. So send me a DM and I'll actually send you the picture file.
So, all right.
Right.
Hold on. So you were deposed.
Yeah.
Okay. So, as probably your audience here is known, like they watched my PVM video and you were sworn in. So you got sworn in for your deposition, right?
Correct.
You swore to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So my question is, why were you deposed? Because it sounds to me like you clearly were at fault for the accident. So like, were you disputing it? I mean, what happened?
So here was the deal. This is how it goes. This is what people don't understand about insurance. And this was pre me being in insurance at all. And I didn't. So this was kind of what led me into that path of figuring insurance out more. I had a just normal coverage from State Farm that I had like kept from God knows when, right? Like I probably got it years before, and I'll never forget the policy limits. Your insurance has policy limits. So yes. This was all notified to me, Roger, in the service, the summons. Okay.
Yes.
And so in the summons, they were asking for like $300,000.
Yeah,
this guy was asking for $300,000.
I mean, he's full of shit. I mean,
well, of course, but at the same time, that's what he was asking for from the attorney at this, and that's what it said. It was 30 pages of this shit about I could after that I couldn't work anymore. He had his own.
My life's over.
Right.
Oh my God.
He had his own business, and his business basically sucked the next 2 years.
Well, it's because he's an asshole.
Right. So he was just bad at his business, but he had one good year before that, so he was able to blame the accident on that. And the man really put in writing through his attorney that him and his wife's sexual life had been destroyed since this,
Steve,
and they could no longer have any kind of meaningful emotional connection. And he wanted $300,000, and I was like, "Holy shit, 300 grand!" And then I started going, and I'm like calling State Farm, and then they're like, "Yes, don't worry, your coverage goes up to 100,000." And I'm like, "That's not 300 grand." I'm like, "What the hell?"
You've got some liability there, Steve.
So exactly. So lesson learned hard way, right? So immediately, of course, it's State Farm. They assign the best law firm in the town that I went to college in, like the best one there. That's all they did was State Farm, and the guy was super sharp, right? That was the lawyer, super local there.
So by the way, Steve, the guy that you're talking about at that law firm is essentially what I do for a living. So
really, you're okay.
Like, so the insurance companies hire me to represent you when you should be staring at the road, but instead you're looking at your fucking putter that you just bought off the back of a van. Yeah, like I'm that guy.
So this is what made me become the insurance guy that was later working with this, because I had this personal story that was so impactful. So yeah, as this went on, I got your equivalent in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and he's like, "Yeah, don't worry about a thing. Your coverage limits are 100,000. I mean," he's like, "You never know how these things go, unfortunately, but this seems a little crazy." And since he's going over 100,000, for him to get that, he has to take you to court. Okay.
Gotta go to trial.
He's got to go to trial. And before he can do that, he has to go to a deposition hearing, right?
Correct.
So
he's got to go to ADR. He's got to go to settlement conferences.
All that happens. And we did actually go to a full-on real deposition in a courtroom down there. And it was crazy because, again, like, what happened was, it was fucking crazy, Roger.
How the fuck did we get to this story?
I mean, this was the most insane day of my life. I'll never forget it. I walked into the courthouse. And of course, you go into a conference room. There's a...
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know if it was a court reporter, a mediator, right? / judge person.
Little court reporter, a little young lady with a stenographer machine.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then
typing down everything. Yep.
And then him and his wife and me and my attorney and his attorney. And his attorney was like this, I guess, some local guy in the town that I hit him in that was like they're like, this guy's a curveball because he'd apparently won. He was like an older guy, but he had won some cases before. And he was
Did he tug on his suspenders like this?
Yeah, he was like really like
boy.
He was like a movie character exactly.
Yeah.
So the thing was they wanted my wife to come to deposition. She wasn't in the car, and she was like 8 months pregnant. And I was like, hell no. I was like, I'll go. And so this I'll never forget their attorney got to question me first for like the whole morning, right? For like hours. And
hours? What the fuck is there to talk about?
Hours. What happened on that day? What was it like? Blah, 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 every detail that they could ask, right? So
it's all about me. I 3-putt everything, and I thought this $10 putter would save my game.
Well, I think that, I see there was a hill there, right? So I was like, I didn't say anything about me looking at the putter in my trial. I just said I came over the hill, and the car was there. I tried to veer off the road. I didn't see him. The hill was there. And so that's what I'm telling this guy. He's like, what happened? And he's like, how far do you think this hill was? And I was like, I don't know, 1,000 feet. And so he's like, did you measure it? And I'm like, no, I didn't measure it. Well, would you go measure it? No, I won't go measure it. Well, what was the temperature like that day? And like every single question you come up with, right? And he's like rubbing these bushy eyebrows, and he's got these old school pad notes he's writing on this thing. And
when instead, if you were just honest and said, yeah, I was staring at this fucking putter that was stolen.
No,
it would have been like, oh, okay, I get it. All right. Oh, you got a $10 ping? Wow.
It didn't really matter. I was at fault. He just had to do all this stuff, right, to try to get the extra money. That's all this was about. Extra money. So this isn't even the good part yet, Roger.
Oh, okay. All right.
So this guy, he gets done with grilling me for 3 hours, and I'm just like, this motherfucker, and I'm pretty good, you can tell. I wouldn't be the easiest, most dipshitted person to get it's hard to get me stuck in a good, like, I like a good interrogation situation. Like, yeah, I like to be a smart ass back in those things. Sure.
Yes.
To a limit. And I'm also know perfectly well how not to incriminate myself.
Eric asks the best question. Do you still have the putter?
Eric, that's a wonderful question. I have no idea. It might be. I just put the golf clubs in the top of the building here today, and I haven't looked at them since I moved. Yeah. How was that hill? How big was that hill? What was the angle of that hill that day?
What was the angle? Yeah. What was
Anyway, I get done.
Were you coasting on your break? How would you describe it?
And the guy's like, okay, and my attorney's rebuttaling some things, and he's like, I think my client's been clear on this. And if there was something weird, he's like, you don't need to answer that. That's not associated with this at all. And stopped me, and I would just stop. And the guy would get irritated because I would just stop. And so I remember we broke, and the attorney, like he was like, look, you're doing really good. Don't worry about it. This guy's right. Exactly. He's like, we're just going to get through this. He's like, the next time now, he's like, now I get to grill them with all these questions, and don't you worry.
Wait a minute. Your attorney produced you first for your deposition before the plaintiff's deposition?
Yes.
Oh, I never would have let that happen. Never. Defense lawyers out there, never let that happen.
Well, you could talk about that mistake after that.
I will. Well, you were at fault, so who cares?
Right. It didn't really matter. That's the thing. I think it was all just an exercise in flabbergastery. Yes. So this was the best part. Okay. My attorney then starts asking him questions. And it's really mostly boring shit. It's like, what are you talking about in the financials here? How did you come up with the hours of these like rebuttals on things? And there's making him verbally say everything that he put in, right? Everything that he says he put in the thing. He's going through it all, and I'm just watching the other attorney. Like, I'm having to be quiet, and he's just sitting there, listening, right? This old man. And he keeps, like, doing this. And I'm like, I'm swearing that fucker's falling asleep for, like, 3 minutes at a time. And he's, like, doing this shit. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm so bored. I'm just, like, looking around everywhere, point. And I'm just looking, and I'm looking at this fucker. I'm like, he's asleep. I'm, like, looking at these two people. They're just answering questions. And my eyes are just wandering, and they just freeze on his notepad. Okay?
Uh-oh.
And then the fucker decides to wake up. And he jumps up in the middle of this deposition, this old man. And he grabs his notepad, and he goes, well, here you go, you son of a bitch. If you want to read it, just read it. You think you just know everything? You want to just read the notes on the paper? I was nice, told you wife didn't have to come in for a deposition, and this is how you act. And I'm like, whoa, cowboy. And then my attorney says, no, don't say anything.
Don't say a thing.
And I didn't say another word. And he went on for 2 minutes. I can't believe it. And then, like, he wasn't allowed to cross-examine me after that. So the deposition went on for about another 20 minutes. And then my attorney and we broke. He's like, yeah, I'm going to go have a chat with this guy. And the guy was over there furious, just blah, 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 blah. And he's like, well, great. Now he's super pissed. So I don't really know what's going to happen. And I'm like, awesome. Fucking awesome, dude. And so he's like, yeah, we'll see what happens and I'll be in touch with you, let you know. And I was like, this.
But then you got a call one day and he said, hey, great. Guess what? The case is settled. It's over.
Yeah, but this wasn't even it, though. So this motherfucker was so pissed that I read his notes that, you know, in Discovery, basically they find out eventually how much your insurance will cover.
Yes.
At the end, which was $100,000. So they're like, we'll pay the $100,000. And
wow. You really fucked this guy up, Steve.
Right. And so the guy says, okay, the attorney says, okay. But he says, but I want that kid to pay $5,000 for looking at my notes. So the deal is to pay, he has to pay $5,000. And I was like, man, I was so broke at this time. I was like, I went and bought a $10 putter, man. I ain't got $5,000. Like, you're fucking crazy, man. This guy's an asshole. And my attorney's like, yeah, don't worry. But for him to put in something that bogus, he has to put in like a payment plan. So no shit. I was writing that asshole checks, $100 checks 50 times.
Are you fucking kidding me?
For $100, I think a month I paid. And I think I paid it up for like 4 years and then I just stopped like with 500 to go.
All right.
And then like the attorney called me one day and goes, they've been calling because you didn't pay the last 500. And I was like, fuck them, man. And fuck you. What are they going to do? And he said, yeah, right. They're probably not going to be able to do anything. It's $500. So that was the end of my wreck.
All right. Now,
the $5,000 putter.
Now, look, I'm not sitting here to toot my own horn. Okay. Pat myself on the back. Anything like that. I do the exact same line of work that your attorney does. I've been doing it for 15. No. How long have I been out? 09. Almost 15 years. Okay. I have never, ever had a situation where I had a client pay a fucking penny of his own money towards a settlement. Ever. I don't know how your attorney agreed to that. I don't. So your dude from Murfreesboro is not as sharp as you think he is.
He's as sharp as anybody that comes from Murfreesboro. Okay.
Well,
you should look at the people from Murfreesboro.
Okay, fair enough. All right, fair enough.
Lewis was just in Murfreesboro. So that'll tell you something.
So was this the place in Waffle House where he was accosted, basically? Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Fair enough.
That's like I said. That was all a big.
I have a lot of thoughts. That was my first one that really came to mind. All right. So he says his husband, so he can't fuck his wife anymore, right?
Oh yeah. So the attorney did go into that, and it was very weird because I had to sit there and the court stenographer, and he's like, well, ma'am, how would you explain your husband's sexual performance since the accident?
3 times a day before the accident. Now,
right? Never. And like, he is. So he can't get an erection anymore. It's like weird shit. It's like
his back pain anymore. He can't do it. Yeah,
I've never seen anybody like self immolate themselves for a couple $100,000.
Oh, so okay, where should I begin? Okay, let me go back to the beginning of my career. I had a case. Because I used to do plaintiff's work, okay, where I represent the injured person. I had a guy who brought what's called a loss of consortium claim, which is that very issue where your marriage has broken down because of your injury, and now you can't be a good husband, and you can't fulfill your needs sexually, yada, yada, yada. So he gets my client's deposition, and yeah, I can't be intimate with my wife anymore. Oh gosh, we were intimate at least 3 times a week. And this guy's in his mid-50s. I'm like, come on, man. I mean, come on, right?
Who are you?
Okay.
Hugh Hefner?
Oh.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, right. I mean, come on, right? Okay, all right. Let's just assume that's true. You can't sleep with your wife anymore. You're doing it 3 times a week. All right, cool. Well, now after the accident, now how often do you have sex? Oh, are you kidding me? Never. Even just thinking about having sex, my back is killing me. Like I can't even fathom having sex with my wife. Right. All right. So the deposition's over, and I talk to my client, and I go, "Hey, you did a great job. Yeah. If we need you for anything else, I'll give you a call. But yeah, we're gonna do some mediation, and I'll give you a shout." About a month goes by, and I get a video, a CD, in the mail from the defense lawyer. And it says, Dear Mr. Thon, please allow this video to supplement my interrogatory response to your interrogatory number 19, where you ask whether or not I have had a private investigator surveil your client. Please be advised that I've retained the services of a private investigator to follow your client, and his video is attached to this correspondence. All right, well, let's see what we have here. So I take out the CD and I put it in the
Oh
CD.
my gosh.
And all right, okay. Now keep in mind, client says he can't fuck anymore. Okay.
Holy shit.
So I see my client, who's a 55, late 50s, early 60s black man. He drives to a liquor store and he gets himself a bottle of something. It's in a little brown paper bag. Then he drives 2 blocks down the road and picks up himself in broad daylight a woman who I'm going to assume was not his wife. She was standing at a street corner in Detroit wearing a very, 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 very short skirt.
Oh my gosh.
A wig of some type, very high heels. It didn't look like she was working an office job. And she gets into his car, and then I watch my client drive himself and this woman to a nearby motel where he spends exactly 18 minutes inside this motel room with this woman, to which I then watch her depart. She walks on by, and then I watch him depart on his own back into his car. And then so I think to myself, okay, well, looks like he's fucking. And I call him up and I say, hey, I need you to come down to my office. And he came down the next day and I showed him the video. And I said, listen, we're going to drop that loss of consortium claim, okay? Because we're not talking about that in front of a jury, okay?
I don't think your wife would. Yeah. Oh my
I think
gosh.
your wife would have an issue with that. So there was that. The type of work I do.
So that was like that's like the best, or that's like the worst episode of Cheaters you're watching, right? That's like, oh
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
This is like you're waiting for that guy to jump out of the fucking van and be like, excuse me, sir, did you know that she was married? Did you know that he has a wife at home?
So then I stopped doing plaintiff's work for that very reason. Is I knew everybody was lying to
your
me.
Future. Exactly. I just showed you. Even I was lying about a stupid putter that didn't even matter.
Yeah, you're all fucking liars.
Right?
Well, and the other funny story I have with respect to loss of consortium claims, I was a defense lawyer in this deposition. I was in a deposition, and I was deposing a guy who had a hand injury. Okay. And he had a consortium claim, and it was another attorney. I can't remember this attorney's name. For the love of God, it was one of the funniest moments I've ever had practicing law. And because I was representing one of the insurance companies, and he represented basically you, the guy being sued. And the guy who has this injury, it's a right hand injury. I think he broke a couple bones or whatever. He had surgery. I can't remember what it was. But he had this consortium claim, and he says, listen, here's the deal. I can't pleasure my wife the way I used to. And the attorney's like, well, what do you mean by that? He goes, well, I'm right-handed, and my wife really likes it when I use my hand on her in a certain way. And he goes, okay, can you elaborate? And the guy's like, bro, what the you use your fucking imagination. Okay, so I can't like use my fingers on her with my right hand the way it is right now. And the attorney, just deadpan expression. He sits there and just stares at him for like a minute. Then he leans in and he goes, why can't you just use your other hand? Just like that to the guy. And I'm fucking dying. I am dying in this deposition. I'm laughing so hard.
Oh my gosh.
But this attorney was not laughing. He was serious. Like, use your left hand. What the fuck's wrong with you?
Oh my gosh. I bet you.
So that's why I went to law school, to do shit like this, you know.
That's awesome. There you go. Yeah, that actually led me on a path to becoming an insurance consultant that went from insurance to now CRTs.
Man, I got so many stories. We could do a whole podcast just on my
your crazy stories and
my war stories. Yeah, I mean, I had okay, I'll tell you one last one. So I had I probably shouldn't tell this story because it involves one of my partners, but so the last case I tried in front of a jury was last year. In fact, I think I may have come onto your stream like right afterwards, I think. It was in like March of last year, I think. And so I had a guy who gets into this accident, and it's the same type of deal. He says that I have this debilitating back pain. I can't have sex with my wife anymore. We were trying to have kids. We can't have kids anymore just because we can't have sex. Okay, wow, that sounds terrible. Well, I have my partner, who is a young woman who was pregnant at the time, cross-examine this guy at trial in front of the jury. And she is third trimester, ready to pop in like the next 4 weeks. Okay. And and she puts up there his primary care physician records that shows, oh, he actually has erectile dysfunction and he's impotent and infertile and he's been trying to have kids for the last 3 years and before the accident and he still can't conceive. And here's my partner who's very pregnant, basically emasculating this guy, being like, wasn't it true? You can't get your dick hard? You couldn't get your dick hard before the accident? It has nothing to do with this accident.
Oh my goodness.
And this guy's getting like 3 shades of red and the jury's laughing. But that's, you gotta have fun like that with the type of work that I do, or you'll go insane. Like you just will, because, you know, there's every you got so many plaintiff lawyers that are just like yours with the, are you notes, you son bitch, you know, like just crotchety old men that you're just like, shut the fuck up.
What's the most what's the biggest settlement you've worked on, like dollar figure wise?
Oh god, I've had huge ones. Multi-million-dollar ones, and they deserved it.
Were they like death stuff?
Yeah. No, they absolutely deserved it. Like I had a case where my client, there was a dispute as to whether or not he was trying to kill himself, and he had drank a fifth of vodka one morning, got behind the wheel, and drove southbound on the interstate and drifted over the median into northbound traffic. And he was going for a semi to go head onto the semi so he would kill himself. But at the last minute, he decided not to and swerved. And he went head on into a car that killed 2 people that had 4 kids. It was a husband and wife. They had 4 kids.
Oh my gosh.
And they deserved every red penny, that estate. There was that case, and then I had another one where I had a woman who was elderly woman, the nicest woman ever. She was a the dean of a pharmaceutical school at a university here in Detroit. Very intelligent woman, and my client just fucking ran her over right in the middle of a crosswalk, and she had the right of way. Just ran her over, and she had to have emergency. She was like airlifted to the hospital. Had to have emergency brain surgery. Had a horseshoe scar all around her head. Couldn't talk anymore. Couldn't walk anymore. Like just a mess. Like, and I mean, yeah, those like you hear the ambulance chaser, this, that, and the other thing. Like there are people who just get their lives destroyed
terrible
over
in
this
a second, man.
just destroyed in a second because
Like,
someone's not paying attention.
I don't think people realize how many times when in my insurance stuff, you wouldn't believe how many times you would hear somebody going the wrong way for some reason on the interstate and get into like the worst accident you ever heard of. That was quite unfortunately that happened more than you would think it would happen.
Yeah. Oh no. I mean, look, I've seen so much crazy shit in my line of work. But I see a lot of fraud too. I see a lot of the con artists and whatnot, and that's the stuff you talk about at the bar with your buddies, and it keeps you going. It keeps you. It breaks up the monotony of your work, your day to day, and you need that kind of stuff because otherwise you go crazy doing what we do,
right?
But anyway, that's all.
Yeah. So what's that? Right. Let's get out the depressing stuff. What the heck have you been doing? You went and made a video.
Oh,
it's like you went and you had a goal of making a YouTube channel, getting a video that would hit over 100,000 views, and then you're like, I'm retiring. What? Have you made a video since you made your video that's gone?
No. No. I got so many ideas. So many ideas, Steve. I need somebody to just make my shit for me. That's what I need.
That's what we all need. There you go.
Know, just look.
Who's going to make the AI bot that makes our content for us?
Like I just park me in front of a camera. I'll say my shit, and you could just edit it all and shoot it all for me. Like that's what I need. Yeah, man, just work's been crazy. We've picked up some clients, and work is just. It's a good problem to have, right? I mean, I'm not complaining, but man, my regular life, between that, my youngest turned 2, and when kids turn 2, they're a fucking monster.
God.
Especially,
your youngest is 2. How old's your oldest son?
He just turned 6.
Okay, so he's starting to finally get like cool. And like
he's starting to get independent.
Like I'm gonna tell you, yeah. Then they get to be like 8, and then like really more like that. But yeah, the 2, man, like my daughter was a hellion like at that age. So you can't ever. She was a second child, so I don't know. They tend to. They're all different, but definitely can take your time.
No, and yeah, like we made the joke. I mean, what is it? 10, 10:20 right now. Like I've usually been asleep by at least an hour by now. Like that's I'm usually and last year, like when not that I put out a lot of content last year, but I put out at least like a couple videos a month. That's when I would make my stuff. All the kids would go to bed, and I'd come down in the basement and I'd make my stuff. I just don't have the energy for it. I just don't, and it's sad because I ended last year on such a, I put out the PVM video I was really proud of. You were a big part of that, and I appreciated that. It didn't get really the numbers that I was hoping for, but whatever. I mean, a lot of people liked it, so that's all I really care about. And then I put out that Tink 4K CRT video, and as soon as I knew it was going to be a big video because as soon as I published it, I got a DM from Bob like 10 minutes later, and it just said, that was a fucking great video. And I was
right.
I was like, oh, wow. Okay, cool. And before I knew it, it was like, I was looking at the numbers and all the shit that was rolling in, and it was like at 20,000 views within 48 hours. And I was telling my wife, I was like, shit, like this is a big one. And within like, I don't know, a couple weeks, it hit 100,000, and I was getting like my Tink 4K video was getting more views than I think Digital Foundry did something on one and it had more views than that. I'm like, how the fuck is that possible? Like, those guys know what the fuck they're doing.
Dude,
I'm
you
just some
made
dick.
yourself look like you knew what you were doing. That's what I'm
No,
saying.
I'm an asshole in my basement.
Hey.
Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And I got comments from people like, oh, you mix this in stereo, and if I'm wearing headphones, it sounds awful. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like,
What the fuck does that even mean?
I don't know.
Right? Like, that's what I get all the time. It's like, I don't even know what the hell you're griping about there, Grandpa.
Well,
you sound like the reverse boomer on the internet complaining about your headphone volume.
Yeah, and I get it. Like, okay, when I'm encoding it, there's a button I could hit okay, do you want it in mono or stereo? And I'm like, oh, stereo's good. And I hit stereo, and it should have been in mono, but
You don't know. That's
I
hilarious.
don't know. But
Look.
so, I know what my next. Well, what sucks is this is where I feel really bad. Is that well, I don't know if this happens to you, but like, I get offers from companies, and they're like, and it's not like a sponsorship deal, but they're like, hey man, I got this cool thing. Could you just talk about it? I just want to know your thoughts. And I write back and I'm like, look, if you don't give a shit what I say, and you just want to send it to me, cool. I'll do a video. I don't care. Like, but you're not going to tell me what I have to say about it. Like, if you do, then pay me. That's fine. And I'll say it's a sponsored video. But I got a thing from it's down there. I should probably go grab. Well, it's the I don't even know what it's called. I feel bad. It's the guys who I'm going to go grab the goddamn thing. Hold on.
All right, guys. Hope you all doing out there wonderfully well and enjoying tonight's conversation. Let's see what Roger pulls out of his box of goodies.
All right. It's Bob did a video on this like a couple of years ago. I don't even know what it's called. Oh, it's the 4K Gamer Pro. 4K Gamer Pro, and it takes 1080p signals and it upscales it to 4K. Okay, and it's like the M Classic, like or the is that what it's called, the M? You know what I'm talking about. So they email me and they're like, hey, like your content, would you be willing to do a video about this? And I'm thinking in the back of my head, well, one of the cool things about the Tink 4K I've been wanting to talk about is the 1080p upscale to 4K, because I use that all the time because my kids are playing the Switch all the time. And it looks really good. So my thought was, okay, do you really have to go spend $750 on a Tink 4K if that's primarily what you're going to be using for it, when you could just maybe use one of these? And I bought a brand new Mac that could do 4K.
I remember you saying that.
Like, I got the new Mac with the 4K captures, and I got the 4K capture card. I'm like, I could actually do this. This would be great. Okay, cool. Do you have a week where you can make this fucking video? Because I don't, and I want to do it. And these guys just sent this to me, and I got a couple follow-up emails like, hey, Roger, just want to see how you're doing on it.
Really?
Like, man, I just don't.
I know, right?
And I feel bad, and I write back, and I'm like, guys, I wish I had the time, but I'm going to do it. It's one of the first videos I'll do. And so I don't know. I maybe this summer.
I mean, I'd be honest with you. I get probably 3 emails a day, and I never even answer them. Like, they eventually, I know it sounds like, but you guys would have to understand too. There's a lot of scams, a lot of crap. I mean, I get so many, like, I can go through my emails and I'll laugh because sometimes you can see where somebody's done a video on it. I'm like, one time I got an offer for some bloatware, terrible, ship to your door treadmill with all this
what are you gonna
fucking shit. And I was like, I was just laughing. I was like, this is the most ridiculous one yet. A freaking treadmill.
I would watch that,
right?
Steve. Come on.
So that's the first thing I did. I was like, oh, I bet some dipshit out there on YouTube with like 10,000 subscribers ruined himself making a video about this thing. And that's what I did. I looked it up, and there was some schmuck on there who did the whole thing where he gave a review. I don't that's one of the reasons I love talking about dead products, is because I can be loving to them as much and hateful to them if I don't like them, and give my own
Right.
feeling. But at the same time, anytime I review something, I never take a product on I never have. I mean, like if somebody like Mike Chi was like, it was so funny when the 4K was coming out, and I was like, I sent Mike a DM because I don't remember. I ran into Corey from My Life in Gaming, and he's like,
Yeah.
"So did you ask Mike for a review unit yet?" And I was like, "No offense, Corey, but man, I'm like Roger." I was like, "That would just be like more work. I don't have time to do."
I don't have time for that.
And then I was like, I would actually feel bad because it's like Mike's shit and it's expensive.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, I bet he would give you one if you just asked him. And I was
He
like,
would.
and I
He
was
would.
like,
He's the nicest guy on the
I
planet.
know,
He
but I
would.
was like, I'm not fucking doing that. And the closest I got to asking him was like, after your video came out and I wrote the article, and I was like, Mike, I feel like everybody in Planet Retro right now is doing something on your device except me. And sorry. And he's like, oh, don't worry. Just keep posting pictures of real CRTs. And I was like, all right. But I was like, I am not asking. Because I was like, I don't even want to put the pressure on myself to even make content about it. I don't have a TV good enough to use with it. Like, I don't own a 4K TV.
Well, there's that.
So that's...
But Mike, when it came to Mike, like Mike was getting a lot of shit right at the end of last year because you're right. Like every fucking YouTuber, and I made a joke about it on my live stream. I was like, nobody's gonna buy one because you sent one for free to every fucking YouTuber. but Mike sent me one. He sent me a tester with like zero expectations. He didn't say shit. He was like, hey Roger. He didn't say, Roger, I want you to make a video about this, or hey, can you make a blog about it? Could you do this? He didn't put any contingencies on it whatsoever. He was just like, hey man, appreciate all the stuff you do, all your support. Just, tell me what you think. That's really all it was. And, but
that's
I did
the really
the
best
CRT
way to do it.
Yeah. But then I had like this inclination, like I should do something. Like I've been playing around with it for a lot. And I just did the PVM video, and I had so much goddamn B-roll from that PVM video laying around. And I was like, I could put something together pretty quick. And that video came together. The irony of it, I put that together in maybe 4 days. And not like 4 full days, but like 4 nights. And, I had to take a little bit more. I had to use the macro lens a lot to get those up close shots, but that came together pretty quickly, and I put it out there, and I was shocked by the reaction it got. But
I really wasn't shocked by the reaction that you got, because between that and honestly the other CRT video didn't get enough attention. It's such a great detail in it, but you're playing devil's advocate with a fucking algorithm that it doesn't give a crap about how good of a video you make.
No, Steve, if I had to do it all over again, I would have broken that video up into like 3 parts. That's what I should have done. I should have broken it up into 3 parts and and just released it like once a week. And that would have been much better, but because YouTube doesn't want an hour-long video, they doesn't want that.
Not unless that's all you do is like hours-long videos once a year. If you're like that guy who does like this crazy ass, like those one guys that come out. Well, I mean, a perfect example. This was
Norm.
Exactly. That's what I was about to bring up. I was like, what the? Here's something I wanted to bring up. It's kind of like the thing I thought I'd start doing. It seems like and this is not a normal thing. Look, man, the world economy is like, even us who are making a living are grinding ourselves to the fucking teeth because everything's expensive. So we just have to do more. Most of us, I think. Yeah. And so it's obvious, because I feel like everybody, all of us, and I'm one included, used to make much more regular content, it feels like, and we're all now, it's kind of like, woo, I haven't heard from them in a while. And then of course too, there's things like where you see obviously Norm spins out his message to take a break. And then I start sitting there and I start thinking, I actually haven't seen a video from this creator in a long time. I actually haven't seen a video, and I'm like, I can start thinking of people who actually did stuff a lot, and I'm like, I haven't seen anything from them in a while, and I'm like, I hope everything's all right with them, but then
Yeah.
you realize it's just like life, and you're like, so that's kind of, I don't know, the way all of us are doing now.
Well, I mean, I try not to get down about like how long of a drought it's been, because it is. It's been a while, and I think because the Retro Gaming Expo is coming up in August, and I think somehow I got looped in on that, like the comments or notifications or whatever, and maybe it was our little DM that we have, and Bob said something like, Shank makes a video once a year. Is he not a content creator? And I'm like,
Exactly.
yeah, he's a content creator. Yeah, he is. I mean, he's Shank. Like, everybody loves Shank.
But yeah, and I think that we all need to take that pressure off ourselves, because exactly like the same exact thing. We don't need to be worried about the schedule. I feel like the schedule thing is a good way to establish yourself, that you're a good creator, capable. You need to build a reputation. But I think that once you build that somewhat of a reputation, you don't have to be doing things. And I mean, a perfect example is of like, with my channel, I try to stay relevant. I'm lucky if I can get a real video produced once a month. And this is like my job. And it involves this. And I'm lucky because I've got the live stream set up where I can stay stay connected more often. But at the same time, I struggle to make a once a month video, and I'm loaded every day with constant content everywhere in front of me.
Everywhere.
It's just I don't have time to film it. And so it makes me appreciate people's work more. And I mean, like, I'll never stop like cheering you on, because I look at this. I know we're gonna go with like the Squishy Brotherhood blah blah sauce for a second.
Guy just jerk me off now.
Right.
All right.
This is true. Like, I'll never forget, like, because the first video you were putting out, you were working with Lewis.
Yeah, with Lewis.
And at this time, I was like, this is when Lewis and I were pretty much recording at least once a week. So we were
you guys were
always
regular,
talking.
big time.
So that's what we did. We like took advantage of that time. We were like, let's do this stuff regularly. And so he said, yeah, I worked with Roger on this video. And I was like, okay, what's Roger's idea to be a YouTuber? Because I'm like always skeptical. Like, oh, great. Is it a copycat of something else?
Good. Yeah, you got some hidden gems for us,
right?
Roger? Yeah.
And then so I'm like, all right, cool. And he's like, well, I just got done with it, and he's got a really actually good, fascinating approach. And I was like, okay, really. And I saw the first video, and I was like, this is freaking awesome. And I was because it was your own spin and all this stuff that you'd done your own. It really got me.
I can't watch. I can't. The only video I've actually like gone back and watched was the PVM video, just because I was at a point where I was like not embarrassed by the production quality. Like the PVM video, I was like, oh, okay, this seems like I know what I'm doing a little bit.
Oh, that's way crazy. I mean, like again, I thought your production on the Michael Jackson video is like
that's when I started to figure it out. Yeah, a little bit
amazing too.
But nobody watched that fucking video.
Of course, but you can say nobody, but you came out of nowhere, and you're coming into it when it is 10 times harder. It's 10 times harder every year. Every year gets 10x harder to make yourself an audience.
I say that in jest though. Like, I genuinely don't give a shit about the numbers. Like, I'm not here to make money. I don't care. Anytime I do try to raise money, it's for charity. It's not. I'm doing this just because. I don't know. I like being part of like the fraternity of retro gaming. Like, I like just being. People actually give a shit what I think about things, and I got opinions about stuff, and I like producing it. Like, I have a creative outlet, and I never really get to use it from my normal 9 to 5. And so when I do get the time, I do like to take advantage of it. And I like shooting. I like writing scripts. I like interacting with guests. Like, fuck, my last one is I'm supposed to be doing something with Yahoo. I've been trying to do that for months.
I figured so, since he was on the stream.
He was on the fucking stream. I know, he hasn't done anything, but he was just like, hey man, you got a script for me? I'm like, no, I don't. I gotta write it. I would write it, but I got to sleep, you know.
Hey,
And I had this whole thing in my head, like, cause it's about wrestling, and I'm like,
yeah,
oh man, I'll release it right around WrestleMania. That'd be cool.
you still could.
And
WrestleMania next year.
yeah, right.
Shit.
I don't know, man, but you know, I try not to. That's the thing. Like I said, people have asked me like, "Oh, are you going to start a Patreon?" And I'm like, "No, I don't want more pressure to do shit." Like I just, you know, because now I feel like
don't do that if you don't.
no,
Yeah.
I mean, and there's a lot of great fans that are like that want to support you, and it's like I really appreciate it, guys, but I don't need more obligations in my life. Like I just have too many. And there's been some really great people I met through it all that have sent me shit. There's a oh god, what's the guy's name? This is gonna bug me. He sent me. He's really into. I'll look him up on Twitter real quick. He sent me. What the fuck is this? What is this?
I don't know what you're looking at,
dude. Okay, hold on. All right, hold on. All right, go on Twitter real quick. All right,
Oh,
look at your tweet. Look at your tweet.
Yeah, let's hang on.
Is this guy making fun of me? I think he's making fun of me. So
I haven't looked at Twitter.
So look at the comments to your tweet.
Yeah.
And there's this guy just post this picture of this woman
what the
who
fuck is that?
it's that.
What is that? Yes, I can show that.
Can you share your screen? Like, what is that? I pulled.
Oh, hello, Roger. You've changed. I don't know what.
No, I know what this guy's doing. He's making fun of my jawline, which is a very defined jawline.
I was gonna say it doesn't look as defined. It doesn't look as defined in this video as it does in your coffee review. In your coffee review, you look like. I'm gonna show you what you don't look like that, man. You look like I
look like a hitman. Like I look like
a hitman. Yeah. Okay. Here you go. I'm gonna show you who you look like. And you're gonna love it. But yeah, I saw this.
No, come on. What are you doing? What are you doing, Steve? I'm gonna look up this guy who sent me shit.
Yep. This is the first thing I thought about when I saw it. All right.
Oh, with the prosthetic chin?
That's the me, myself, and Irene chin. I was thinking about that, right? No, I was like, man, Roger's lost so much weight. His chin just got double chiseled.
It is.
So, yeah, like it's been an interesting year because I knew it was going to be this way, but I love the fact that you fit this.
I found this guy. Hold on.
Okay.
It's Blue Shell 3D.
Okay.
Blue Shell 3D. Follow the guy. He made me a 3D printed stand for the 8045.
Yeah, he made me one too.
Oh, he did? Do you like yours?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I showed it off in the in another stream. It's the best because it's got that angle.
Because it's at an angle and you're not like craning your neck.
Right. And it's a better angle.
Yeah.
It's like, and it sits in the feet fit in perfectly and stuff.
Because we've been using that thing that Smoke showed us, the laptop holder.
But it's just flat. It doesn't angle.
Yeah. Well, he sent me this and he's like, hey man, you care like taking a couple pictures of it and put it on Twitter? I'm like, yeah, man, that's not a problem. I could do that. And of course I haven't done that yet. And I don't know. I just haven't had time for shit.
I know. I see. Here's the problem too, is like you take on stuff like that, and I'm really bad at this. I'll tell people, like I was thinking about this just 5 minutes ago talking to you, how I was like, oh shit, I told Roger I'd send him like these things for his PVM.
I was thinking about that.
I just forgot about it. But that I'm like the worst about it. It's not like I'm sorry. It's nothing personal against anybody. Again, that's my problem. I have so many things running in my head. I will forget it, and a month later, I'll be like, oh my gosh, I completely forgot about this thing.
Well, no, it's cool because I was thinking about that. I was like, because this is where my life is. Like I will go 3-4 days out of the week where we just don't get the mail. Like we're too fucking busy because the kids are a nightmare, like to walk down the fucking driveway to just open up the mailbox. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, God, did Steve send me?
I miss it.
Yeah. So the PVM 1940Q series has the pull tabs. It's not like the M series. The M series, they're actually screwed into the chassis. But on the 40Q series, they literally just screw on from the outside. They're really easy. But the problem is they get broken really easily too. And I'm missing one. I've been missing one ever since I've had this one. So Steve had one lying around. He's like, "Hey man, do you want these?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah!" And this was like a month ago. You wrote me
exactly because it was probably like 2 days before I found the house.
Oh, okay.
I went through all that
you were
shit.
cleaning out the shit. Yeah. Okay.
So like, no, I found this before the house. So then I went and I made the offer of the house. I did all that shit. And I did all this moving and I forgot. And I was like, holy shit, here's Roger. I forgot to mail that thing I took to him before, which seems like 2 years ago. And it's only been a month. But that's...
Well, it's, I forget about shit. Like, because Lewis came to your house.
Yeah.
And he made the bunker video going through everything. And I forgot that I had sent you that M1 until I saw it in the video, and I'm like, "Oh shit, there's my M1." I gave that to Steve. I forgot about that.
I haven't even been able to work on that yet. One time I'll work on it. We'll work on it.
Man, they're good. They're good monitors. They're beautiful monitors, man.
Let's tell some funny stories for people who are still here. If you're still here, drop a like. Let me tell you a funny story. We were talking about kids, because I had my kid, my son. My oldest is 12, about to be 13. 12, about to be 13. And the son of a gun is obsessed with, oh my gosh. He's obsessed with sneakers and cologne.
Oh, and okay.
So the sneakers not too bad, okay? Whatever. But the cologne, my God. The cologne is brutal. We fight like for the first month, he would come out and he'd like knock your ass over. Like I was getting a migraine walking around the house because it smelled like Jean Paul Gaultier. like I was in the Dillard's perfume aisle. So we got him down. So that's what he's into. He's like, oh, I got to get, like, instead of collecting games, he's like, Dad, I need some more cologne for my cologne collection. I'm like, you got freaking 20 bottles and my sinuses can't take this anymore. But anyway, he's into that. And, but see, he's in 7th grade. He's trying to like be the class clown a lot of times. He's smart, but he's getting into like trouble. So it's been like getting progressively worse throughout the year for little stupid shit. And it's like he'll, it starts off something small, nothing happens. So same thing, something small. It's usually just making smart aleck remarks for the teacher or something or kids. And well, the last one, I got a note. He comes home with it today and he's like, I got a note for you, Dad. And I'm like, a fucking note? That's not. I mean, I've like my wife and I have gone in and met we talked about this. So before he actually started getting in trouble at the very beginning of the year, I sent you a message where a teacher went up behind him and smacked him in the back of the head.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So he's always been a little smarty, but a teacher went in, smacked him in the back of the head like this, and like made a big deal about it in class. And like he got really embarrassed by it and like got, said it like shook him. Cause again, he got hit by his teacher. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's bad. So hit, not like physically hit like hard. No, so anyway,
don't put your fucking hands on my kid.
Right. Yeah. And I was concerned, right? I was like, so we found out about it because, I think that something weird happened with this same teacher. He was being a little bit of a hard ass, but the teacher one day told him to take his shoes off. And like, I was like, what the heck does that mean? She told you to take your shoes off. And he got like sent out to I'm losing my internet here. Hang on. All right, it's coming back. Sorry. Anyway, it's like this real weird thing where he's asked to go out. He gets in trouble because what happened is she told him to take his shoes off. And I was like, why the hell did she tell you to take your shoes off? And she was like, well, a lot of guys in class were squeaking their shoes on the floor. And she told me to take my shoes off. And I was like, whoa, that's messed up. And then she said we had to watch a video for an assignment. And she told me to get up and move. And I got up and moved. And I was like, I feel like I'm going to slip in my socks, so I don't want to move. And I said, well, that's okay. And he said, I said that. And she was like, well, that's not okay. He's like, well, I'm just not okay with that. And then he got sent to the office.
What is
for
going
that,
on
right?
over there?
So it's like
What is
weird,
going
right,
on?
with this teacher already. Well, then I heard this story where I said, Max, this sounds extremely fishy with this teacher. If she does anything weird like this, I want you to get up, excuse yourself from the classroom, and go to the office and say, I'm sorry, I don't want to be dealing with this. My dad told me I could come to the office and that you guys would call him and blah, blah, blah. I would come and take him, or we would talk about it. So then the thing happened where she hits him in the back of the head. That's what happened. It was like a week after that. She hits him in the back of the head. And after I told him that, he got hit in the back of the head and he's like, I don't feel safe. Gets up and goes and says, I'm going to excuse myself to the office. And so he did that. And then the school was like, what's going on here? And she came in and said she slapped him in the back of the head, whacked him in the back of the head. And then they wanted to have a meeting with us. And I said, look, absolutely. So we went in, and my wife and I had a meeting with the principals. And I was like, I know she didn't hurt my child like physically, but there's emotional damage there. But not only that, I said, what would happen if she did that to a kid who I know, like my kid's kind of smaller for a 7th grader. There's a lot of kids that are like as big as me for 7th graders. I was like, she wouldn't do that to them. And if she did do it to the wrong person, that kid could get triggered and beat her to death. Who the hell knows?
You know what? No.
Or do so. I mean, not saying that would happen.
No,
but I'm saying
who
that's like,
cares?
Right, that's all bullshit. Like, why should that even kid have to deal with a teacher?
She should be hitting any kid.
Right.
Don't put your fucking hands on any kid.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So this all happened at the beginning of the year, this whole little thing, and then the teacher was gone, and then my son was sent to another class for that subject. So. Yeah. However, since then, he's been kind of getting in trouble for being a smartass, right? So a couple of times he gets in trouble. Well, this last time, I mean, I don't even know what the heck he's doing. I get a note from the school saying he's heckling like the elementary students that are sent there to see middle school. And he's like joking against them, like while they're walking through the hallway, and gets busted doing it, and gets written up and sent to in school on a Friday. And I'm just like, man, you just stop it. Can you just stop it? I know you want to make a joke, but then I'm like, they can't be doing this stuff to these kids. They're going to go home and God knows what they're going to tell their parents.
Right.
Like they're like 8 and 9 years old. They're not going to understand anything. So it's a never ending struggle. Then you feel like a jerk. Then it's like, my dad doesn't like what I've done. And then you feel like, oh my gosh, am I a big jerk for being so hard on him? So welcome to what you'll be seeing in the next decade.
Yeah, thankfully I haven't gotten any of those calls. About my son. My oldest is a sweetheart. He's a really, really sweet kid. Kind of a teacher's pet. Man, my youngest is the one I'm worried about. He's he's just a shithead, man. I've gotten a few notes about him, like, oh yeah, they were fighting over a toy today and he pushed this other kid down. I'm like, that's about right. That sounds like him.
The second kids are so damn tough, man.
That's
They're
what
like,
everybody tells me. The second kids are fucking nightmares. But
yeah, I don't know. Like I remember when my first son was born, and it took him to like he was over a year old to be like getting up, starting to walk around, right?
yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I got all this time. Like I was working at home office a lot, and I was like, I got all this time where the second kid's gonna be sitting on her ass between like 4 months to a year under one of those little play things,
Right.
where they can't really do much but get on their bellies and crawl. No, this kid was up trying to stand at 4 months, right, holding on to stuff and just like and just like trying to walk, flopping on her face like all day. Run out the door if you didn't watch her. So it's exactly the opposite. I was like, this is unreal. And that's when I realized I had no idea about kids and that 2 was enough for me.
I'm very self-conscious about, I keep looking at myself in this stream and at my chin, and it does look like the Jim Carrey chin.
You gotta stop it now. I was joking.
Look at that. No, I'm seeing
I can
it
make
now.
mine look bad too.
Get my profile. Yeah, it's there. I mean, it's bad. Well, you saw I put out a video where I was giving away the 14N6. Or no, it was in the PVM video, and somebody commented like, "Could somebody fucking explain to me what's going on with this guy's chin? Like, look at this thing. It's huge." And I was just like, "Really?" I made an hour-long video about PVMs. This is the one thing you could distill from all of that. Is that my fucking chin is massive? Like, I know. Everybody else that's watched the video knows that. I have a very defined jawline and chin. I don't know what to tell you, man.
What do you think drove Norm to a break? He's like,
yeah. Oh, I know.
I just hunted down every person who put together the Oregon Trail and made an awesome documentary about him. And I got commented on about something like you said, like can somebody get this guy some allergy medicine? Who knows what they'll say, right?
I know. I don't know, man. I don't know.
But see, I'd have thought that you'd have been using that as your power chin, like.
Oh, it is.
Of course it is. Like, does your wife not like love your chin?
Of course she does. Why do you think she married me? I mean, come on. Look at this thing.
That's what I'm saying.
It's gotten me into and out of a lot of trouble. So, but no, I don't care. I mean, if you're gonna make fun of my videos and my chin and my face, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. But it just struck me as odd. Like,
oh man,
of all the things you're gonna rip, like. I had a ton of faux pas in this video and bits that probably didn't land, and you're gonna make fun of my chin. Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
My favorite is oh, now I'll never get that thing because this. Now I'll never get that. I'll never get that thing because this. I got.
What do you mean? Like because you made a video of it? Now somebody won't.
That's actually not that bad. The worst one I had one guy who was just coming in and just. Basically, you're an idiot. Oh, this is idiotic advice. Another video from Steve, more idiotic advice. And I don't know why YouTube, for some reason, is like in my app notifying me every time of that one guy's comments. So I'm like, congratulations. I looked up how to mute you.
The best is.
Look at this. We got Keemstar in the house. Drama alert.
Drama alert. Who's drama alert? I don't know. Drama
big
alert.
channel. Big channel. Yeah, you go
big
check
channel.
that out.
All right,
yeah,
cool.
Actually, a long-time customer. He's got an awesome 2030 of mine, or that I actually I took care of for him. So yeah.
Well, yeah, let's talk about you, man. So you got the FW900. I saw that video.
Yeah.
So what's next? What's the next big project you got?
Well, like I'm in this little box here, and next door to here, right actually in this area is a huge area, and I'm gonna start or I've actually got to go in and put in everything from insulation, drywall, all that. And I'm going to turn this into an amazing, like, den area. It's got a it's pretty nice. It's newer than the house. Funny enough. Hey, so the Don Honk who's in the chat, Don Honk, that is his FW900.
Oh, cool. Hey, congratulations, man. You got a hell of a monitor. Very nice.
Yeah. So
very nice.
Yeah, I got this whole area next door. I'm gonna turn it into a studio, and I'm gonna set up the bunk beds because I'm gonna make you and Bob and Yahel come down here to Virginia, and you've got to stay the night out here next door. Man. I literally got those. I've got the only thing in there is the bunk beds and the mattresses and mattress bags, and then the bare walls ready for insulation. And so I've been watching This Old House. Yeah. This Old House videos about how to refinish a house in the 80s. Because, of course, I'm going to do everything's freaking 1980s style, right? So
holy shit. Hold on. This guy's got 5.5 million subscribers? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like my biggest customer to date a long time ago.
Holy shit. What does he do?
No shit. Keemstar.
Number one source for news on the social.
Keemstar reached out to me out of nowhere and bought a bunch of stuff.
Oh, this guy's like he's like, I mean, he's on all of the pop culture shit. He's got videos about Logan Paul and Drake. And
yeah, it's
Kendrick
like way beyond my stuff. So
yeah,
that's what I was. See, you guys don't know how many secret clients I have out there. YouTube is the land of opportunity.
You see everyone else. If you want to get your monitor serviced by Steve, you got to get on the waiting list. But if you're a drama alert, you get your monitor serviced.
I mean, he had to wait just like everybody else. It wasn't as if I'm pulling that rabbit out of my ass.
No, you know what? You got to do. You got to pay for that diamond level Patreon tier, like I did.
Yeah, that'll get you.
Skip the line.
That gets you up front. That's some people have done that.
I did. I loved it. It was worth it. It's totally worth it.
I got some people who stay on that level who like are amazing. Like there's one guy who I swear the guy makes a living off of he rents all the equipment to like everybody in Hollywood who uses any old school stuff. Like he's got a whole website where you can go rent a Trinitron for a day for, look at that, Vornak does a Hollywood CRT. That's right. Like this guy's in Hollywood, his whole business, and his name's Steve. And he's like, he got on that top tier Patreon and I sent him a message because I remember this was the first year and never responded. I'd never got an answer back from him. And then I Googled him and I found his website, and it's like a whole website about he rents retro tech by the item to Hollywood for movies, sets, all that shit. So it's really like, it's crazy when you start to think that, wow, your work actually somehow is trickling out and might like, it's actually end up in shit you don't even know. Right?
Right.
It's like that 6th degree of whatever you're doing. And I mean,
now, wait a minute. I got to reach out to Drama Alert. Like, you want to talk about droughts? Drama Alert hasn't put out anything in a year. He hasn't put out a long form video in a year. It looks like his videos are. I mean, he's got the channel I wish I could do, where I just get up there and I just talk about shit, and 1 million people watch. You know, it's like, oh, 1 million people actually give a shit what I think.
Retired. I think he retired.
He retired.
Like he's a guy who got to the peak of YouTube and literally retired. He says one of my projects this year is to build my own blockbuster in my house.
No,
physical movies are cheaper.
I hit the shorts tab. He's all over the shorts.
Yeah,
this guy's
Snapchat. See, he said he's up on Snapchat now on the chat.
Oh, okay.
That's like I know he's like 2 steps ahead of the future. I should probably go start uploading.
God damn, this guy. Drama Alert, teach me in your ways of the algorithm. So like, please.
Yeah, I think you got to get involved in some drama.
No, you know
right?
what this fucker needs to do? No, drama alert. Look, if I've entertained you at all, please, like, just put out a post and just say everybody subscribe to 8-Bit Esquire, and I'll be like, holy
Look
fuck,
at
I
the
got like
teens.
30,000.
Come
I
on.
got 30,000
Hey.
subscribers. Wow.
Relax. I mean, the funny thing is, I've done the business with him for years. I never asked him for that
What's your problem?
because I'm a schmuck who just like goes about and wants to be the CRT
Be
guy.
like, hey man,
I'm not trying to
look,
be famous. I don't care.
Come on, I serviced one of your monitors. Come on, man. I serviced your 2030.
But that's actually the way to go. Like, DVDs are cheaper than ever before. I've absolutely.
Who's Shane? He says he's making a video about chins. Well, listen, brother.
I absolutely love hunting for DVDs now. And I actually my biggest post on Twitter the last like month reached like 200,000 people, and it was my post about buying a copy of The Godfather on DVD, opening it up and fighting Final Fantasy Tactics and Final Fantasy 7 disc 2 only. And people have the dumbest shit like, oh, what idiot doesn't check the DVD cases? I checked the freaking DVD cases. I saw it in the store. I was like, hell yeah, I'm buying it. But the problem when that happens is then you're at the DVD counter for another hour and a half, opening every damn DVD case because you're hoping you find your luck again, and it doesn't happen. It's like a once diamond in a rough. But that was a funny post that I was literally about to send that in our group chat. I was like, this is the dumbest shit. Twitter will pop off on this. And I didn't send it to you ahead of time, but it did. I look at it the next day, it's like 200,000 views.
I'm trying to think. Final Fantasy 7 Disc 2.
Somebody actually gave me the great idea of like loading up half of Disc 1 and just playing through.
Well, is Aerith still alive in Disc 2? I can't remember. I think she's still alive in Disc 2, I think.
See,
have you ever played Final Fantasy?
No, I've
never. Have you ever played
it.
Final Fantasy?
No.
You've never played Final Fantasy 7? Oh man.
Here's the truth. Here's the truth. I've never played any Final Fantasy game beyond like an hour. No, yeah, I've always I played no, see, I remember very vividly getting Chrono's Trigger and like that was it for my Super Nintendo like years.
Well, let me help you out.
Trying to beat that. And I've never been able to get in it. I never did it.
You're okay. All right, listen to me. Play 3, okay, or 6. 6 in Japan, 3 in the US. You got that ST to SNES cart. Pop it in your Famicom, okay, your Super Famicom. Play Final Fantasy 3. It's one of the best games ever made. All right, and when you're done with that, play 7. Just because, and 7's not one of my favorite Final Fantasies, but it's the one that everybody knows.
Yeah,
and they've re-released it. Square just put out the Rebirth Part 2. They're supposedly really good. It's like the most famous Final Fantasy. So if people get into discussions like, "Hey, is that the disc where Aerith is still alive?" I can't remember. So at least that way you're into it. It's actually a pretty good story. It's a cool story, cool cast. It's not my favorite Final Fantasy, but 7. I'm not an expert in Final Fantasy by any means. I haven't played them all, but because the later ones kind of suck, if you ask me. But
yeah, it's hard. I mean, I think that a lot of those games got into more of the using the DVD feature too, and you get these super long cutscenes.
Yeah, that turns into Metal Gear kind of
in that era of gaming.
Yeah.
What was I gonna? There was something I was gonna mention about that, but yeah, I haven't. That's been something I've never had. It somehow skipped me by. I remember playing a Final Fantasy VII demo disc a lot, and then that was it. And like I got to the demo end, and that was.
It's good. It's really good. It's really good, and it's not. Like some of these Dragon Quest games you play, they're like 100 hours long. But Final Fantasy VII, you could.
And it's. I mean, I actually think it's cool that they have you can go back and you find these games around that time period that were multiple disc. I would have loved to have seen like the meetings arguing about how this is a dumb idea. Putting 3 discs in one game. Some idiot's going to lose one, and this is going to turn into a disaster. And just like all the meetings, right? And it was such a great, but it's such a great idea.
You had to, Steve, because you had all this CGI video. We got to put more CGI video in all these games.
Gosh.
Well, it looks so dope.
I remember. Okay, so do you ever watch? Probably.
I just spilled my glass. I spilled my glass of water all over the place. Hang on. I just.
All right. So
no, I'm good. No, keep going. Keep rolling.
Do you watch Basement Brothers? Seen their?
Oh, of course.
Channel?
Oh,
okay.
Alec. Yeah. Oh, I love Neo Alec. He's the best. I absolutely love that guy.
I was just laughing, loving the episode that I think is the most recent episode still, and it was all about police knots.
I haven't seen that yet. I need to
on the whatever PC that
it's the PC 98,
right, and it is just it's the funniest thing. Is because first 10 minutes of the video is an entertaining introduction, but it's also the process of installing the game.
Yeah.
And it's done so well that you don't just turn it off and stop watching it. But it brought back so many memories of that era and having to do install disc, write disc, all this stuff before there was the funny little thing that showed up that was the installation wizard.
Yeah.
Right? The installation
right.
wizard. Before the installation wizard, you'd have to go through swap discs and it just brought back like such good memories of such a stupid thing. And it's funny
actually,
how you get nostalgic for an experience that was almost painful.
Yeah, where you had to actually had to know. You almost had to like hack your computer. Like, oh, I know command line codes. C:\install. Okay. Or dir directory. I always love that when I watch like a lazy game reviews video, and it's like he knows how to, he pulls in, some IBM Junior, and he knows exactly how to like get into all the command line prompts, and I'm like, fuck, man, like look at all these guys, and they know computers. That's cool. Like I don't know any of that shit.
Yeah.
Like if I put the disc in and nothing pops up, I'm fucked. Nothing's happening.
Well, and it brings up an interesting point here, and we're going to get a little philosophical here before we get done for the evening here.
All
right, and this is like the idea of like the universe pointing you towards what you're supposed to be doing in your life, and you hitting that position, and you get rewarded by basically success. And I know this is kind of an interesting thing, but what do you think? And you can even take this, I guess, more on like a personal level, because I've been thinking about it more and more since I've kind of embraced the idea of becoming a full-time CRT restoration person and actually making it happen.
Consultant.
Right. And a technical consultant.
Right.
But, I mean, vice versa. Do you feel like, because I feel like you as an attorney in the field of law, practice of law, you are in something that is a pursuit. Like you can't just easily become that position, even from the starting position. So have you felt like that is the right spot I just have a weird conversation if you want. Have you felt like that's the right spot and everything? And like, how's that? I don't know. Like, do you understand what I'm asking? Kind of.
Absolutely not. No.
Do you feel like you're in the spot that you're supposed to be? Like, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do. I couldn't imagine. I just had this conversation with somebody. I couldn't imagine doing anything else than what I'm doing right now. And if I wasn't doing this, I'd probably be like a high school like history teacher smacking your kid in the back of the head. Like that would be me. Right? Like that that's probably would be my job. But no, I couldn't. I think I was pretty much built to do what I'm doing, and I think that's half the battle. And if you know that, and you know that to be your truth, I think life is a lot better. You know, because you don't live a life with regret, thinking, "Oh, I should have taken this course," or "Oh, I'm in this dead end job I hate. What if I studied this instead?" Like I don't have any of that. Like it's this. This was it. This was my path, and yeah, I mean, I have a lot of imposter syndrome too. Um, you know, because
Well, just because you feel like, even though you did all the things to get to where you're at, you feel like somehow you don't adequate to your own vision of what that is, maybe kind of thing,
no,
or
I know it's more so like in my line of work, you have a lot of kids who are like, well, not kids, but other attorneys that are my peers, quote unquote, that are like third, fourth generation lawyers. They all went to private schools. They grew up in the best neighborhoods. They're networked with all the best people. And then you have a guy like me, who I'm the first kid in my family to go to college. Both my parents had GEDs. I didn't come from money. I went to public school. I'm not connected. I'm not networked. I'm not anything. And then I look at these people and I go, "Hey, you had all the advantages in the world, and here you are, right next to me, right now. Isn't that great?"
right? Because
And
it didn't, but it didn't take any. It didn't take any effort. They were going to be sent there, right?
right,
So
exactly. But then I sit there and I'm like, well, do I actually belong here? You know, like, is
okay, I
is
see
this
what you're
the
saying.
circle is this the circle I'm supposed to be in? These people are all better than me. They're supposed to be here. I'm
They're
not.
not better than you. They're all assholes.
They're just all assholes. Oh, okay.
No, I'm just joking.
So
Just
no, I
joking.
mean that's yeah. I hope I'm answering your question. I think
No, that
that's
really is. This is very deep. This is
okay.
actually deeper than what I was expecting.
This
Like,
is the most philosophical we've ever been. Like last
that's
time
what
I came
happens.
on, we were talking about a girl you met that was on Girls Gone Wild. So I mean, like
Oh
this
shit!
is
God, yeah, Lee, I didn't even know I talked about that on the internet. All right, come on, back to your discussion. Wait,
no. You know what I want to get off my chest?
no.
No, we gotta talk about gaming. Like
Okay,
gaming, right?
yeah,
Like
let's get back
gaming,
to some stuff.
like no, like gaming right now. Like I'm worried. Like I think gaming as we know it, the gaming that you and I love,
Oh, I got
Steve.
a good idea about this too.
Well,
Yeah,
it's gone. It's
it
gone.
is.
It's never ever going to be the same. I think gaming is now synonymous with media, and media is a perfect example is like what Warner Brothers did with the Batgirl movie. Um, Many people don't know. Well, people. I mean, this is
Didn't
pretty.
they just buried it, right?
They made a
They
fucking
made
full
the
budget
entire
movie.
like fucking $100 million movie and decided we're not even putting this shit out.
We're not even going to put it out. We'd rather just write it off. And
With like Brendan Fraser.
yeah, like
Right
there were
after the
this,
damn whale thing, which would
this
have
was
turned him into like it could have been huge. Stupid to not even.
this was a big budget movie, and the corporation decided it'd be better off to write off this movie as a loss for the shareholders. And now you look at what Microsoft just did to Tango, to Arcane Austin. These are two really, really good studios that make good work product. And I know, Redfall was a flop. It had technical issues. Hi-Fi Rush was one of my favorite games of last year. And it just didn't move the needle like Roblox does, or Call of Duty does, or Fortnite does. So now it's expendable. And I hate that. I hate that so much. Like it's like one of my favorite games of all time is Mega Man 2. Mega Man 2 is like my comfort food. Like I play that game at least once a year. Like it's home. Like it's the perfect game. That game sold 1.5 million copies.
Is
If
that
that
it?
game were that's it. If that game were
One
released
five.
1.5 million copies. If that
Gosh.
game were released today,
It would
Capcom would not exist. Would not exist, right?
Yeah. It wouldn't even blip
And
out.
yeah, and it's just no one makes, it's I feel like video games are kind of emblematic of film right now and society as a whole. And I'm getting really, really deep right now, but like gaming is the middle class is gone. And it's the same thing with movies. Like movies, no one just makes movies anymore.
And
it's either big fucking blockbuster sequel or it's tiny little independent film that cost $50,000 to make, right? And
that looks like it was like filmed out in your backyard, and you're like,
yeah,
wow, this is a good story, but it was filmed like it was in my fucking backyard.
Right. And there's a bunch of actors we've never heard of, and it's a director we've never heard of, and a studio that's all independent. And it's the same thing with games. Like we can have these great little tiny indie games like Stray was a big hit last year. That was a tiny little indie game that came out of nowhere. Like you have those little games, or you have big massive like Starfield, and you have these big budget Bethesda or Sony or Nintendo or whatever. And that sucks. Like that sucks. I don't think that's sustainable. Like,
dude, it's not sustainable. The whole landscape has been shit for a decade, right? Why do you let's be honest, why the hell do you think these retro games resonate so well with us? It's because gaming kind of peaked 10 years ago, right? I mean, if we think about it, but it's not, I don't think it's the developers' fault, because the developers, they can't get over the roadblock that is the established game thing that's there already. That it's like, how do you gain traction and say you're something new and great when, like you say, everybody else is just playing a Roblox patch or something that's the newer gamer thing? And there's no, I mean, that's all community based, and I feel like that's a fine ecosystem, but you're not going to get, like you say, 1.5 million in sales is not enough to sustain these huge studios.
No.
How much did Spider-Man, the latest Spider-Man, cost to make? I couldn't believe when I was hearing the figures of that. More than movies.
And that's an interesting, that's okay. So
there's a bunch of weird dynamics to this conversation almost too.
So think about it. So you brought up Chrono Trigger a few minutes ago. Like Chrono Trigger, when that released, that was
a huge deal.
It was $80.
It was. That's the only reason I got that game. I'll tell you what, and I will never forget this. It was because I helped one of my best friends in 7th grade. I helped him move from the apartments into a house, and I helped him all weekend, and his mom took me to the game store and said, I'll buy you any video game in here you want. And I picked Chrono Trigger because it was $80.
The most expensive game,
and it looked like something I'd never played before, which I'd never played a real RPG like that. And it was totally worth it.
But my point is that game came out nearly 30
time ago.
Nearly 30 years ago.
What's $80?
80 right,
back
it was
then
$80
to now.
And
like
that
300
studio and Squaresoft at that time, that the team that developed that game, I think was like 30 or 40 people. Okay. So that's 30 or 40 salaries that you have to pay, plus, publishing, distribution, all of that shit. $80 a pop. Okay. Now let's look at a current game that gets released. Let's say Spider-Man 2. All right, good example. That game's released at retail. I don't know what PS5 games go for new. 60,
I think it's like
70
$60.
All right, $60.
Still $60.
Okay, that game that's
now.
That's
right?
now. Today's dollars. Okay. There's a team of probably 500 plus people that went into making that game. Okay.
Oh, I imagine it's more than that.
More than that, probably. Plus, you have a marketing budget. And I made this comment on Twitter. Like every time I fucking open my phone, I get an ad for Spider-Man 2, right? Like how much money did it actually take to produce that fucking game? And
God bless. I bet they spent $10 million or more on marketing for it.
So it's like, I don't. We're at we're at a point, and Microsoft's idea about all this was, well, we'll just make a subscription network, and that'll offset the cost
And
of
that's the
everything.
worst
Because
freaking idea. And it
well,
hinders
but at the
progress,
same
though.
but at the same token, the reality is we can't charge people $60 for these games. We should be charging people $150.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. Like the best games when we were growing up, nobody was bitching. You've never heard anybody online bitch about the price of Earthbound or Chrono's Trigger the day it came out. You've never heard anybody say that was too expensive. You've never heard that argument.
Kids, and someone, who is this? Vomac just said $80 in 1995 is $160
That's literally double.
In today's dollars.
I think it's
double. Okay, so and you and I growing up, Steve, like you didn't have a lot of video games growing up.
Hell no.
I didn't have a lot of video games growing up because they were so fucking expensive. They were $50, $60. And back then we didn't have that kind of money. So we rented the games. And I just don't, something's got to give. Either these publishers got to start charging, three figures for these games, or we're just not going to have big budget games anymore. They're just not going to exist.
Yeah, I don't understand that $60. Like, here's the thing. Like, I know there's a lot. Again, a game like Spider-Man, it doesn't even really make any sense. First off, because I had to buy a whole console just to play that game, pretty much, right?
Right.
Whereas I would have gladly paid $180 for a special edition of it that my son could have had on his computer. Yeah. And not bought a PlayStation 5, probably, to be honest with you. But
well, I think
it's a hard
that's...
sell to say that you're going to charge that much. But shit, James is right in the chat. The AES games were triple figures back in the 90s. But
yeah, but that's we're talking niche stuff. I'm talking like mass market.
That's
games.
not selling 1 million copies of a $100 game.
No, like that. The Neo Geo was niche, but I'm talking like the big releases. Like if you wanted to go down Sonic 3 is the big release. We're gonna buy this. It was $60. It was the same fucking price back in 1993 or whenever Sonic 3 came out as a regular game is today. Like that doesn't make sense. Name me one thing. Name me one commodity you could buy right now in 2024 that's the same price you could buy back in 1994.
I only know one commodity, and it's actually cheaper, unfortunately, Roger. And you know what I'm about to say. It's Roku televisions. Those things have gotten cheaper than food. Right. Somehow. They've been so subsidized, they're cheaper than your food. They're $80.
I mean, most like electronics that have just
outside of that, like this is insane to think that you could, but I don't know. It's also comparable. Let's call it comparable on a level to, say, CDs, right? CDs, you would expect to pay the $15, $12 to $15 range for an album from an artist.
Right.
But that $12 to $15 back then, if we compounded it out today, it is probably $30 to $40. But if you go to the store, they're still selling those things for, again, media is not changing in its price.
Well, but that's
right.
But
are we right here?
But think about media though. Think about music. Music is now. I haven't bought a CD in fucking 10 years. I haven't bought a record. Right. What do? I have a Spotify account and I pay $15 a month for that. So that was Microsoft's idea. Okay, this is how everybody is consuming media now. We'll just emulate that business model. Everybody will just subscribe and we'll give them games. And we'll just buy all the studios and they'll continue to make this stuff. But for some reason we've hit this, or at least Microsoft clearly has hit this this obstacle with gaming, in that people still want to own their games. Like I'm perfectly fine paying $15 a month and have all the music in the world right here on my phone. Like that's fine.
Yeah.
But for some reason people have an issue with turning on their Xbox or PC or whatever, paying, whatever Game Pass is a month. I have no idea. I've never subscribed to it. And having access to, tens of thousands of games. it's weird, but at the same token, like I think
that doesn't help. That model of like subscription based doesn't help usually. How like it's hard for a developer to then compute its worth to that, I guess, subscription based unless it's so obvious. I guess it's a really
but that's just it. Is that so if you read all of the Fallout from Arcane Austin and Tango, they had no idea. They have no idea how well their games are doing, or it, you know, and that's the right. And it's the same thing with any kind of movie production studio that has a deal with Netflix. They have no idea. They don't know if their movie's a hit.
Not only that, like how many times have you found out that? I mean, I hear stories all the time about the biggest movies that wind up being good in Hollywood will have some actor that gave the performance of a lifetime and he got 60 grand.
Yeah.
For that single performance, and that's it.
Right.
And you're like, holy crap. That's really, it's like, it's not that much different for everybody almost.
That's my point. That's my point is this is where media is, and gaming as we know it has kind of just been taken by the tide with the rest of media. Like it's perfectly acceptable for me to have all of the Beatles records in my phone streaming. Yeah. You know, and it's perfectly acceptable to have all the Halos on a cloud that I can just download. And it's perfectly acceptable to have all the Star Wars on Disney Plus where I could just watch them. And you don't own anything. We keep all the publishing. You just bought a license on a monthly fee. We may remove this from the cloud without your knowledge or consent, and you're going to have to live with that. But I think that's the way it has to go, unless people.
You mean for mainstream?
Because
like you said, your choices are you either pay $15 a month and live by their subscription rules, or you end up paying $150 a game to buy the individual game and own it forever.
But
you're right. You're right. And if you pay that high ass bounty, you should be able to have a physical copy that never doesn't work.
Right. Well, and somebody made the point of like ray tracing. It's like games are getting bigger and more expensive to make.
Way bigger, way more expensive. You got these actors, you got everything. I mean, it's like, this isn't it's such a great topic.
It's so weird to me because I made the point like Microsoft is about to publish Hellblade 2. Okay, and if you look at, and it's from Ninja Theory. Ninja Theory is an incredible studio. I've loved their shit. They were putting out shit on the PS3. I can't remember the name of it. Cool game with swords, cool gameplay. Can't fucking remember it. But they make really, really, really good games. And I think it was Heavenly Blade. Is that what it was called? I can't remember. Anyways, they're about to release it. No marketing whatsoever. If you watch any of the development videos, you see all of this like revolutionary, state-of-the-art facial motion capture technology they put in. There it is. All of this revolutionary motion capture technology they put in to model all of the characters, and you watch the graphics, and it's like, holy fuck, this looks like a real-life movie. Like, this is amazing. This game must have cost a fucking fortune to develop. Right?
I mean, think about a movie, only you got to 10x that because you give all the decisions, all this shit, all this different situations.
It's like it's akin to like an Avatar movie, like
right. It looks like that much money
on a technical level, right? And I don't know, like they're not going to sell any copies of this because they're putting it on Game Pass day one. And they're not marketing it because they don't have to because they're going to put it on Game Pass day one.
Right, so they get a contracted amount from Game Pass? How the hell does this work?
Well, they're the fucking studio's owned by Microsoft, so who cares?
And then the studio will sit there 1 year, say they make a bunch of money, and they'll send some schmuck out like they did today.
They'll have no idea, exactly.
That has no idea about gaming and just cuts everything.
Like, sorry, guys.
Because the overall market's on a downturn, and her projections say that we should, or their projections say we should put this.
So then it becomes okay. Well, why did you spend a fucking fortune to develop this game that no one's gonna buy? You know, I just don't.
It's unfortunate, right?
it's unfortunate, and I don't see how this industry lasts. I just don't. I think
The only way this lasts is you know who's gonna. I mean, everybody loves to take a big fat steamy dump on Nintendo nowadays.
Listen.
But Nintendo was the only one back in the days of the Wii who said we do not think it's smart to lay off developers. It will not give them any kind of job security to be laying off developers in a time of need, and they all took their highest level executives all took 25 to 50% pay cuts. But I don't even think Nintendo would do that nowadays.
Look,
it's like, does any of that shit exist anymore?
Look, I'm not a fanboy. I don't get caught up in the Sony Microsoft shit. I do root for Nintendo, and Nintendo gets shit on a lot, but this is why I root for them. At the end of the day, there were three gaming companies where they made games. It was Atari, it was Nintendo, it was Sega. That was it. And then what happened? What happened, Steve? The fucking trust fund kids showed up.
Okay? Trust funds have absolutely turned Atari into a fucking meme.
Okay.
Modern Atari is a meme, right?
So listen. Sony showed up. They had all the money in the world. They had all the marketing clout in the world. They're a big electronics firm. We're going to buy up all of these licensing deals. We're going to buy up all of these timed exclusives. We're going to put Sega out of business. What they do, they put Sega out of business. No longer in the hardware market. Well, then the other trust fund kid shows up. Microsoft. We don't have anything to do with gaming. We make fucking Excel spreadsheets. We make fucking word processing. We make user interfaces. What do we know about gaming? Well, they showed up. They got a bunch of licensing deals. They got a bunch of timed exclusives. They made hardware. Oh, we're going to compete in this space now. Fuck all these guys. Fuck Sony. Fuck Microsoft. Get out of here. Get out of the space. Let Nintendo this is Nintendo space, right? Console gaming. It's always going to be Nintendo space. They still do it better than anybody else, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The sales figures show. And, it's, I don't know. I think console gaming is dead. I don't see how there's going to be one more generation. I don't know if Microsoft's going to participate in it, but there's going to be one more generation. It'll be Sony. But I don't know if I can't see it lasting past that. I think it's just going to be, we'll put all our shit on PCs.
I think there's going to be some handheld version, and that's going to be it, right? It's going to be.
Well, there'll be Nintendo. Nintendo will put out their thing, and Nintendo will still be around, because they have that demo. They have the 6 to 18 demo. They've got that on lock, and then you've got all of us geezers that are nostalgic for it, so we're still around.
It's. I mean, I feel bad for like modern gaming because I don't know.
What do your kids play?
I know, right? Like, well, it's an interesting thing you would say that because my son has finally gotten with his friend where they're like, Fortnite's just too boring. It's not really.
Really?
They're like, we're over it. And so they've been getting in more to the AAA titles finally, right? It's like, okay, we're playing Fallout 4. We're playing Red Dead Redemption 2. It's stuff they've not experienced at all. And now, I don't know. It's like if you're modern gaming, what the hell are you looking forward to, right?
Yeah.
A Fortnite patch? Like when I was a kid, you're like... I always knew growing up there would be some type of Mario, some type of once you get in the N64 and all that stuff, you're like, I don't have to worry about there being a game. I have got to worry about just getting some money so I could play some games. Whereas now it's like I can pay. That's what my son does. Is he keeps getting in trouble. That's the only thing I hang over his head is a PlayStation Pass. It's like, you don't get it now because you got in trouble again. It's like, what? There's no...
Well, so the kids are tired of Fortnite.
Yeah,
So
so
what are they playing? They playing Call of Duty? They playing Roblox?
well,
Like what are they?
grounded. It's like it's a good question. They're kind of in this in between phase. I've got all the
Yeah.
games here where they've got access to stuff, and like looking at all games, all gaming systems. It's a hard like. Now that I've packed everything up, this is an interesting thing to think about. What's the consoles that you want to unpack first after packing everything up to play? And for
Mm.
me, the two, and I know it's gonna, and I don't know, this is gonna be different for everybody, but there's two winners, and it's not even close, almost between these two. It's the Xbox 360 and it's the Wii, the original Wii,
Really?
and
Wow.
like between those two, I could play something still to this day and enjoy it more. And it's funny, my son, who's again almost about to be 13 next month, he about a year or two ago started talking nostalgic, have you, for the Xbox 360.
Isn't that funny? Wow.
Like he was like, oh, I remember growing up playing things. So for these kids now, they're going to look back at that, I think. PlayStation 4, Xbox 360, Xbox, whatever was around then.
Well, that's funny because for me the first games I hook up it's Super Nintendo, it's NES.
Well,
That's
right,
it.
but those are, I mean, that's unfair almost because I can unpack those by just pulling out the console and the cart.
Right. Right.
I mean, I guess more of if I had to unpack an entire collection.
Somebody I think it was I'm in the whole woe is me, the doom, the end is near with gaming, and John Linneman's been doing this too on Twitter, and somebody responded to one of his tweets and they posted last year's top 10 games.
And it doesn't look any different than the 10 years before it, does it?
Well, no, it was the top 10 games. I don't know what the metric was, whether it was engagement, playtime, or like microtransactions or overall sales, whether that's through retail purchase or microtransactions in game or whatever. But like number one was Fortnite. But it was so it was like Fortnite, Call of Duty, Roblox, Grand Theft Auto, Minecraft, um, uh, what's the one? Like FIFA. What's the shooter that EA does? I haven't
It's
played
got to
it.
be one of those.
It's made by Respawn.
I can't think of that.
I can't think of it.
It's got to
but,
be a war
I-
shooter, right?
yeah, well, no, it's like a what the fuck is it called? I've clearly never played it. Somebody will get in there in the chat, but it's like you jump off the walls and it seems really cool. But again, it's like a live service game, and the overall point is all of these games are all live service
Battlefield.
games. Yeah, Battlefield I think was up there. Counter-Strike was on the list.
Yeah.
So it's all live service games where everybody's logging onto a server, getting into a match. Rocket League was one.
Yeah, I couldn't even believe that. To me, it was nuts.
Apex, thank you. Apex Legends, yes. Apex.
Yeah, Apex. That's it. And then, but it was funny to see literally Rocket League still in the top 10. That's pretty nuts to me.
But that's just it. All these games are like at least 5 years old.
And they're all the same kind of thing where
they're all like it's all live service games.
It's all just live service get together battle royale
and you get on with your buddies and you just say the N-word and like I don't understand.
Like at this point, why don't they just keep open like the original World of Warcraft servers and stuff? It's like
right.
What's the point? We've kind of hit. It's like this realization that we've hit our max capacity on technology. Kind of, it's like, why isn't technology going beyond this?
Well, and this is the thing where like the gaming purist says, oh well, Nintendo's the knight in shining armor. Like Nintendo sees through all the bullshit and they make real games. It's like, okay, do they? I'm looking at
But
Tears of the Kingdom.
they also do the same shit where they're trying on the Switch. They're still selling what first gen games for same price new.
Well, but not so much that. Like I understand that they're digging into their backlog and they're, reselling those games. That's fine. You could do that. You have the biggest collection of IP that people want to play
I don't
than
mean
any
the
other
old
publisher.
games. I mean like the same games on the Switch.
Oh, you mean like the Wii U games that they're repackaging? And
No,
shit.
not
Like,
we. Well, no, not even. I just mean like Super Mario, whatever is, or like Smash Brothers is still $60, and there's no Smash 2, right?
oh well, yeah. Well, and that's kind
Or
of what I
like
mean. Is
Mario
like,
Kart. It's like there's no new Mario Kart. It's all just a $60.
right. It's just a redo of just all the games they've put out. Like Tears of the Kingdom was a great game, but was it really that much of a evolution beyond Breath of the Wild? And it's like not really. Um, Super Mario Brothers Wonder, like that's a great game, but
Right.
it's like just another new Super Mario Brothers game. If you played one, you played them all. And the new Mario Kart, like it's my kid's favorite game, but I've played that Mario Kart game a million times already. Like it just maybe we're just at
What's
like,
gonna save gaming, Roger?
yeah, what's gonna save gaming? I
Like,
don't.
is it gonna be a return to our roots? I mean, is it gonna groom from pinball? Because I feel like pinball is awesome right now, but people don't
Yeah, man.
have the time and
Pinball's
patience to do it. But pinball machines, a modern pinball machine will entice you and suck you in for an hour or two, easy, if you can do it.
what I hope is
But
that
that's an experience you got to go somewhere for most of the time.
right. I hope what it draws people into is retro games because
I think that's always going to be the case.
like here's 40 years worth of like really great games you can go back and play, and so I hope it's still around because it keeps us old farts relevant still, right? So
There's no way, retro. I mean, that's the thing. Everybody goes back and they realize that the golden era of gaming has passed us by. I mean, sometimes
100%.
sometimes it takes some weird retrospective to realizing you're living kind of in the tail end of a civilization. But we are living in the tail end of a civilization as far as gaming is concerned right now. Unless there's some unforeseen thing that we don't know, which would be awesome, that comes out. Most of the stuff is kind of predictable, and it really does make you appreciate, well, I'll just go and play an old game. I'd rather play Final
Yeah.
Fantasy VII than any of these
Yes.
damn new games we're talking about almost. Like,
Well,
it's
but
like
that's
that.
the thing. Like, what's the PlayStation's biggest hit this year? It's the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It's just the same. I understand it's new gameplay and it's new graphics and it's a new experience, but it's still Final Fantasy VII. Like, it's those characters, that plot, those settings. It's not new. And it's not exclusive to gaming. It's just media. It's just media in general, and nobody wants to take risks anymore. And when you are a studio like Tango and you do take a risk, you get the fucking axe, and it really
Yeah,
sucks.
I thought that was kind of like, it's making the rounds today, the Xbox stuff, but it just comes off disgusting. It's like,
It is.
and
It's putrid. Did you see
it's
that
like,
interview today?
Of
Did you
course.
see
What do
that
we get? We get
Oh my-
we get this piece of shit. Everybody hates this advertisement from Apple, right? And we get that at the beginning of the week, and then we cap the week off with again like a condescending look at success. It's
Yeah.
like, you guys were successful, but we view, and it's like, you don't view this as a fucking art medium. You view
No,
this
you
as
don't.
a damn percentage point to Microsoft's
It's
stock.
I can understand if Microsoft were to say this game underperformed, it didn't sell well, and we're hemorrhaging money. Okay. How many fucking billions of dollars did you just spend to acquire Activision?
Yeah,
Right?
It's like
And your entire business model in gaming right now is hiding sales figures so that no one actually knows how much money you're actually making or losing on any of this shit. So I don't. So when you finally have a good IP that people love, you just fucking get rid of it. Like you
Yeah.
understand that the people that buy your products are the fucking gamers. Don't piss them off. Like I just don't. I don't
Well,
understand any of.
it doesn't make any sense because, like you say, you're killing the best of the best talent right now that's
Yeah.
actually coming out and making stuff. You're discouraging anybody from doing that, kind of, for a bottom line. So, what is it? Is it like it sucks because it's going to just propagate shit? Because
Yes.
it's going to be just some boardroom bullshit. And we're going to end up in the same thing in gaming that we've gotten in the music industry since
And
fucking
movies.
since fucking
And-
Nirvana, dude.
Yeah, I know.
It's like the producers who made Nirvana made their money and died and said, "Fucking A, now we've got to just put out corporate bullshit the rest of humanity."
Yeah.
Nothing could be original, and just because I don't like it doesn't mean somebody else won't like it. And that it won't be some kind of massive cult hit that we're missing out on an entire generation of. I mean, it's like this is like, I mean, Frank Zappa right now would be laughing at all of us saying he was shitting on this stuff 70 years ago in the music industry. And it's like the same thing that's happening modern times in gaming, where there's just too many people who went to school to say, I want to be the CEO of a gaming company instead of saying I want to go become the CEO of a gaming company by building a gaming company and building a game.
Well, those people are out there,
but
those
they
people
get
are out
snuffed
there,
out by the people
and
like
then they get
you're
bought
feeling.
out. And
The same people who are doing that shit to those people are the same people that are giving you the imposter syndrome, Roger.
yeah, that's true.
It's the same people that are just born into that situation.
Listen, I hope we're all wrong. I hope this is like the market is right sizing, and maybe this is still fallout from COVID, right? Because we had 2 years of really.
I think
lost
there's a lot of
productivity.
that. I think there's still some of that in the pipeline.
Yeah, maybe but I don't know, man. That's the optimist in me. The realist in me is saying I think this is kind of a microcosm of what's to come.
Well,
and
I don't know. The thing is I think you've made a good point for all of us, and that is we have a sustainable library from now, and I love seeing how we were talking a little bit
that you can pirate all of it.
Well, the retro community, while the retro community cannot produce the amount of content we wish on YouTube or something, maybe as it has, you can go on Twitter. You can find plenty of people it's like there's a resurgence about to happen or currently going on right now for the Sega Saturn. It's all just these cycles of things, and you love to see it. You're like, everybody's talking about the Saturn right now. Awesome. Well, all it's going to do is cycle around, and it's just going to keep rolling around to these. We've got so much work to do in preserving all the amazing games, because obviously every company that made them isn't worried about that right now. So we could play around in the back room fodder of all this old stuff, and there's still so much content here. It's like there's so many things I haven't even experienced yet. It's like there's games I bought.
Like Final Fantasy VII.
Final Fantasy VII's one of them. That's a great example. Like that.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I went out and I found out about the game The Line from Xbox. That's like The Line. Wait, it's one of the shooter games, but it's not like a shooter game at all. It's like one where you got to make all these weird decisions, and you got to like drop phosphor on civilians in the Middle East. It's called The Line.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's like the most
Line.
it's like the most controversial Xbox game, and like it's only came out. It's not available right now. So you're like, oh, that's the kind of stuff that we need to be. It's like there's so much stuff back there.
No, like
from
I
the
look at a
last
game.
40 years that we could be going through.
Look, all right, here.
Spec
ready?
Ops.
Here.
Bornak said Spec Ops, The Line. So that's one that's on my list.
Where the fuck is it? Hold on. All right, here we go. All right, Steve, you ready for this?
Yeah.
I got a game. I would love to see a game like this get released today. Okay. This is Katamari
Oh, that's a great example.
Damacy.
I mean, you just could have
Is this game? Does this game get released today?
Hell no.
Hell no.
And that's a travesty. Or if it does,
this game is fun as fuck.
and if it does get released, it's released as a $5 fucking
this game is a goddamn classic. Like, it is so much fun. It is so stupid. I don't care. It's a fucking video game.
It's one of the best.
There's no online servers. This isn't no fucking 100-hour open world with side quests. Make a fucking game like this. Like, make a game like this that everybody loves.
Another one you're talking about from that same time period, dude. Parappa the Rapper never would have stuff like that. Never would have existed. Now we would only get super deep, weird, overthought, think tank, huge boards of politically correct individuals, 30 of them coming together to make us the worst video game in history that only cost $30 billion.
Right.
So it's like, well, or we could just have this one crazy guy who's down in the basement who thought of this like game where you push buttons to coincide with this weird rabbit's raps. You could,
I know,
like we could make $1 billion and be a cult classic.
I know,
or like, we could just listen to all you 30 morons. It's like, come on.
I know, but no, a game. So Katamari Damacy gets out today. It sells 500,000 copies, and the studio goes under. Like, it's
it's like thanks for that awesome game. You're all fired.
Yeah, that game was weird as shit. It was fun to play, but it was weird as shit. You're all fired.
And you're like, what? It's like the only people who keep their games made Roblox and Minecraft.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
It's the same. I'm glad you expanded this discussion to not just talk about video games. I mean, that's obviously our wheelhouse, but there's so much going on. Again, with music, movies, all of it. And you can even see it, like you say, in movies. They don't know what to do. There's so many cooks in the kitchen that they literally are like, we don't know anything new that we can all agree on, but we can all agree on that there was something wrong with the Return of the Jedi. We have rights to that movie. Let's go back and fix the 3 things we all can agree on that were wrong. It's like, what? That makes all of us no better. We don't get to see that new movie that so-and-so wrote, or it only gets made as an independent movie. So there's always going to be big versus Goliath, David and Goliath.
Well, on that note, very depressing.
Do you want to go to bed at midnight? Finally,
I wanted to go to bed like 2 hours ago.
Like 2 hours ago. I made Roger.
Well, did we usher? We didn't even talk about the new bunker. We didn't even know what it's called.
It's okay.
We didn't.
We'll save it for another episode. We don't have to.
Instead, we got on a soapbox about the gaming industry and how shitty it is, and all
that's
that.
for the real fans who were here the last hour. I mean, we were laughing about having 12 people, and then we have Drama Alert show up, right?
Yeah, Drama Alert, man. That was cool.
And then
I hope he posts that everybody should subscribe to my channel.
He probably did. Maybe you'll look back at your channel. You had 50,000 subscribers.
Yeah, hold on. Let me see what my metrics are right now. Hold on.
You got maybe 2 more? Huh?
Look at all these notifications. Hold on. Oh, no, I'm not even at 4,000 subscribers. I'm a nobody still. Oh, yeah. Wow. A nobody with a 110,000 view video.
We all know that's not true. We all love Roger. We all love the retro community. Thank you, Roger, for joining me tonight. And
dude, thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Anytime you want me to come on, I will come on. So thanks for the invite.
Absolutely, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see you next time. Have a wonderful evening.
Get some sleep.
Go to bed.